What is going on, everybody? How we doing? It is the NFL draft, probably the best day of the year for an NFL. Let's get this thing going. All right, let's do this thing, man. It's the NFL draft day one. The NFL draft has officially started. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. It's going to be wild to see what's going on here with this draft pick because the obvious answer is Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, there's nothing else about it. Aiden Hutchinson, clear cut number one prospect in this draft. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. But Jacksonville Jaguars GM has a history of just going out there and going after this guy who, the arguably the most talented, most athletic kind of person. Not always the best prospect out there in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this draft pick here. If it's Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau, it's going to be very interesting to see. They could even try and trade out of this draft choice here. I don't think that's going to happen. Most likely what's going to happen, I'm guessing, is Trayvon Walker or Aiden Hutchinson. Should be Aiden Hutchinson, but I'm not the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, this scenery in Vegas looks absolutely beautiful right now. Seeing this live right now, it's terrific. Just a feeling that I wish I was there right now. One day, we'll be out there one day doing a little live show from the NFL draft on site. What up, Cam? How you doing, man? Cam Todd, quarterback guru himself. Man, looking great as ever. Makes me happy to see you on here, man. Who do you think's going to go number one, Cam? Who do you got? What you thinking? I'm thinking it should be Aiden, but probably going to be Trayvon, I think. I don't know who's going to go number one here. It should be Aiden, maybe Trayvon. You can argue. D from Georgia, bro, came out of nowhere. Yeah, Trayvon Walker, man. Trayvon Walker's came out of nowhere. He skyrocketed up everybody's boards. I mean, in my draft notes here, I got the whole binder here, got draft profiles and all these things, all these guys, So what I'm thinking here, Trayvon Walker is that guy who the GM of the Jaguars currently sees as like a next Alden Smith type. And he drafted Alden Smith as well when he was with the Niners, I think. Drafted him and realistically went after him because of the freak athleticism. And I think that's what we're going to see happen here with Trayvon Walker. Clear cut, I think Aiden Hutchinson is the number one overall choice here. But I think Trayvon Walker is most likely going to be that guy who goes number one. Cam, I mean, you know it. A freaky D end who edge rusher can disrupt an entire game. It disrupts the game plan, changes everything. So I think this could be a true cornerstone piece that helps turn around the Jaguars. But going for athleticism here isn't always the best thing. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out because you want sometimes the number one draft choice, that most bona fide player, and oftentimes the safest draft choice, not this boom or bust. And especially with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who've been picking number one, it seems forever now. I mean, it's been a minute of them having a number one pick, if not number one, top three, top four. So hopefully they get this draft choice right. Cam, I'm pretty sure your brother or a good friend of yours plays at MSU and just got manhandled by Aiden Hutchinson this season. So should know what it's like. Can be very interesting. Trayvon Walker moving up the ranks here. The number one pick. The Jaguars are on the clock. It's going to be very interesting to see who goes here. What up, Courtney? How you doing? Courtney, who's going number one? Who's going number one, Courtney? Who's going? Let's see. Let's pull up this Trayvon Walker draft profile that we got here. Another big story to watch here. Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. Those of you who have watched Last Chance U, Jermaine Johnson featured in Last Chance U, featured in Indy with Coach Brown. Could be a guy that makes a run here, and it's also a great story to see someone who made it from the JUCO back up to Florida State after he transferred from Georgia to Florida State post Indy. John Morrison's going number one. Courtney. Not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. But man, look at Derek Carr and Darren Waller up there talking about that. Talking about Darren Waller supposedly going to be traded to the Green Bay Packers up there at the podium in Vegas. I don't think you make an appearance at the NFL draft in Vegas if you're going to be traded. Apparently this weekend. That's what the rumors are saying. I don't know why you would be. Why'd you be there? I think the Raiders need to keep Darren Waller. They need to keep Darren Waller with Derek Carr, especially if they're getting Devontae Adams. That AFC West is absolutely stacked and loaded. And if they gave up Darren Waller, they can basically just say that they're quitting for the season. They're not going to have anything happen after that. I wonder how bad Roger Goodell is getting booed out of this place right now. Nobody likes Roger Goodell, but man, do Derek Carr and Darren Waller look classy as ever. What's actually wild about Trayvon Walker moving up the draft board so quickly the last few weeks is he surpassed his own teammate, Nakobe Dean, who everybody kind of unanimously thought was much better than him. And the real argument about who the best player on that Georgia defense was, it was Jordan Davis or Nakobe Dean. Trayvon Walker was like, yeah, he was pretty good, but nobody thought he was going to be that guy, which is very interesting to see. We got an Ice Cube appearance, as always, coming in. Raider Nation faithful, getting everybody hyped up here today. Let's go. We got Derek Carr coming up, getting everybody riled up, getting everybody excited for this. But what's crazy, Trayvon Walker, Pro Football Focus had him ranked as a 14th best prospect. Trayvon Walker ended up finishing the year as a 71.4 rated prospect, which is extremely low when you take a second to check out some of these other prospects. Aiden Hudson graded out 94.5. Kyle Hamilton, in my opinion, going to be the steal of this draft because he's going to slide down like crazy. 76.1 rated. I mean, you got some guys that are very low rated prospects that Pro Football Focus had graded out pretty low, but are going to end up being top 5 picks. And it's going to be crazy to see that because if Trayvon Walker goes number 1, I think a lot of teams will start to panic as well. I think a team could trade up and take a guy like Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, someone very early in the top 5 of this draft, and it's going to have a great effect on everybody this offseason. And as we're going through, we're seeing the clips right now. Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, and Matt Ryan all being traded this offseason. It's been a crazy offseason already. And then you throw in the moves like Devontae Adams to the Raiders, Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. It's going to be crazy to see what's going on here. What's up, Oliver Stratton? How you doing, man? Yeah, so it's going to be wild to see what's going on. I think personally, Trayvon Walker will go number 1. Should he go number 1? I don't think so. I think Aiden Hutchinson is the consensus best player in this draft, while also the safest player in this draft. So I think he should be going number 1. I think he'll end up going number 2 to the Lions, but I think Trayvon Walker goes number 1, and I think Kayvon Thibodeau might go number 3, or we might even see Evan Neal sneak up to number 3. I think it's a kind of an iffy take. I don't know who the Texans are going to take. The Texans are in best player available mode, and I think they might want to get a tackle just to protect Davis Mills, whoever they get. Maybe that's another draft choice later on in this draft, maybe getting a quarterback, hopefully that slides late. I think a team like the Texans could draft quarterback here if Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, and some of these guys slide to later in the draft. I think we're going to see them go like crazy in the top 10, or they won't go until about the 20th pick. I think 2 big factors here are going to be if someone trades up or if the Steelers sit still. If the Steelers sit still, I don't think many people will go. I think the Steelers are going to be one of those teams that might jump early to get a guy like Malik Willis, or someone is going to come in above the Panthers. I believe the Panthers have the 6th overall pick. They might sneak in above number 6 to take a guy like Malik Willis. Then the Panthers take Kenny Pickett, and then everybody's sitting there like, crap, 2 of the top quarterbacks in this draft are gone. Now we got to jump up and take somebody. Then you might see the Falcons take a guy like Matt Corral and something like that going forward. It's going to be very interesting. If there's a trade early on, people are going to get very scared and flustered, and then just start maybe making some negative decisions for their franchise. They're going to be taking a quality player, but they may be taking that player way too early. Although it is a draft choice, if you feel good about that player, you just take that player when you get your opportunity, more or less. It's going to be very interesting to see. But they're flashing these highlights of Aiden Hutchinson, unanimous first-team All-American, Heisman Trophy runner-up as a defensive end, is unreal. I think you just got to do everything it takes to take a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, who is probably the best player in this draft, the safest choice in this draft. I think you just got to take him here and just let him go. Let the man work. Let him turn around your franchise. And what a story it would be if the Detroit Lions keep the Michigan man in Michigan. But the next big argument as well is going to be Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker, his power, his athleticism is second to none. It'll be very interesting, though, to see how this works out because you're going to have to develop him a bit more. He's a good pass player, as you just saw there if you're watching the NFL draft right now. But if not, he's able to drop back in coverage and make plays. Can he man up in the NFL? I don't know, but he can drop back in zone and play some pretty decent zone pass defense. But his main use is going to be coming off the edge as a pass rusher. So I think that biggest flex right there. I think Trayvon Walker could be a big boom pick here that can be a high ceiling guy, but he also has a very low floor and could be a major bust. I know it's one of those tough choices as a Jaguars GM. You sometimes would rather not be number 1 because you let somebody else make a pick, and then you take number 2. And if number 2's a bust, you're like, listen, we wanted number 1, and number 1's a stud. So that's all. Let's see here. We're going to see if I can get the Xfinity on campus live stream going here. And see if I can get you guys the draft as well as I'm talking here without getting shut down. I don't want YouTube to come through and kill me, but we'll see. I'm going to try my best, see what I can do for you all here. So the Jaguars pick is in, and I will be letting you know, my hot takes here, just my true feelings of what we got going on here. But I personally believe this is going to be Travon Walker being selected right now. Is that the correct choice? I don't know. Is it the correct choice? I don't know. I don't think it is personally. I think you got to go Aiden Hutchinson number 1, but I would not be shocked if the Jaguars war room went with Travon Walker number 1. Travon Walker going number 1 could be a take that's kind of validified by most. Just the way he's risen up the draft board the last few weeks as well. The fact that he's just a good athlete, can do a little bit of everything for you, and he has a high ceiling. But personally, as a team, if I was the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars, of a team that's constantly been selecting in the top 5 of these drafts, I'd just be looking, I need a guy that's going to be able to help turn around my franchise right away. And I think that guy who could turn around right away is Aiden Hutchinson. I think Travon Walker could be a guy that has a high ceiling, could turn the thing around in 3-4 years. But potential, drafting on potential, is what gets NFL coaches fired. NFL coaches aren't looking for potential. They're looking for guys that are good right now and can contribute right now, rather than this guy that, we wait around a few years, he'll be back and he'll be ready to go. I think you just got to draft who you have now. And you got to go after somebody that's going to be elite, someone that can change it around, somebody that would just be an absolute stud for you. And the pick is in, and it sounds like from some insiders I got here, it's going to be Travon Walker going number 1 overall. Travon Walker going number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's see if it's true. Roger Goodell's at the podium right now. I think it's going to be Travon Walker to the Jaguars. Travon Walker, the defensive end out of Georgia, goes number 1. Wow. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to wait and see the next few years to see who pans out to be the best player in this draft and who is the number 1 selection and number 1 player, going all throughout. You'll see the DPOY, OROY, all that good stuff. But yeah, we have it here. Travon Walker going number 1. So now the Detroit Lions have 7 minutes left on the clock already. I think we will see the Michigan man himself, number 97, Aiden Hutchinson, the Heisman runner-up, going to be that draft choice to the Detroit Lions. The only other possibility I could see this being is Malik Willis, although I think it's too early to draft Malik Willis at number 2. I think you draft Aiden Hutchinson here. You trade pick number 32 if you're the Lions and package that with another future draft choice. I'd take pick 32 and maybe my number 3 overall, not number 3 overall, my round 3 overall, and get that for a top 10, top 15, and take a quarterback here. But the Lions pick is in. That was a pretty quick turnaround, 3.5 minutes here. Let's see who it's going to be. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. The Lions, MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell has put in the pick. Let's see what happens here. It's going to be very interesting to see what all is going to go on, how it's going to go, and all of that. Let's see, what's this looking like here? Let's get my screen here. Let's see if you guys can see this. I'm not sure if you guys can. Once again, live, doing this on the fly. Let's see what this looks like here. Let's see if I can get you guys the Xfinity thing going on. You can see Mel Kiper's already going. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this stream up for you all, unfortunately. Unfortunate, but I'll keep you guys updated as it goes. The Lions pick is in, and I'm guessing here we're going to see – I think we're going to see Aiden Hutchinson. I think we're going to see Aiden Hutchinson. He's a guy that's gritty, strong, athletic, a great defensive presence, a good guy in the locker room from all accounts. So I believe the Lions are going to take Aiden Hutchinson. If you're a Lions fan, what are you guys thinking here? If you're just someone watching along with us here, who do you think it is? What do you think if it's Aiden Hutchinson? What are we guys thinking here? Let's get the chat going. But more or less, it should be Aiden Hutchinson. I'd be shocked if it is anybody except for Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson graded out by PFF, Pro Football Focus, my number one source for NFL news and kind of stats. They take the deep dive there. And they have Aiden Hutchinson graded out 94.5. Aiden Hutchinson is the number one best available prospect right now. It should be him. I don't know who else it could be. Oh, we got some breaking news. We have breaking news not related to the Lions draft choice. Ian Rappaport has reported Trayvon Walker was in a serious car accident in Athens, Georgia, crashing into two parked cars per sources. Wow, that is not good. That's not good. You hate to see that as just for anybody, but especially your number one draft choice. I hope Trayvon Walker is okay. I hope everybody involved is okay. But that is terrible news. Terrible, terrible, terrible news. Wow. That news just broke as the pick got sent in. So 2 big-time stories, and we're only 22 minutes into the NFL draft. So Aiden Hutchinson, the Michigan man, my hero, the Heisman runner-up, is now a Detroit Lion staying in Michigan, looking to turn that franchise around. But wow, that's back to that Trayvon Walker news. I mean, stealing the headlines of the NFL draft for better or for worse. That is terrible news. Let's see if I can get this pulled up for you all. But yeah, Ian Rappaport, if you guys aren't familiar with the NFL Insider game, Ian Rappaport is a big-time NFL insider, kind of like the Adrian Wojnarowski, Jeff Passan, Adam Schefter. But Ian Rappaport, employee of NFL Network, NFL Insider, breaking some big-time news here about Trayvon Walker and a potential car accident he was involved in. Let's get this here. Share screen. Yeah, let's look. If you guys are seeing this clearly, I hope you guys are. Let's look. Yeah, right here. We're going to show you guys can see that. Let's scroll down for you here and get it blown up. We're going to see Ian Rappaport here tweeting out that Trayvon Walker involved in a serious car accident. That is some terrible news. A big-time scare before the draft. Georgia's Trayvon Walker was in a serious car accident in Athens, Georgia before the draft, crashing into 2 parked cars per Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. He emerged without injury somehow. No citations, but a scare for sure. Well, that's great news, hearing that he is okay and well and healthy. That's very, very important. That's the biggest thing right now. You just want to make sure the guy's okay. I'm glad he is. But Aiden Hutchinson going to the Detroit Lions. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, you have to be absolutely ecstatic with this draft choice. You have to be so happy. This is going to be a guy. He turned Michigan around in his 4 years there. He's going to be a guy to look to turn around the Detroit Lions throughout his NFL career. It's a terrific draft choice. Absolutely terrific. And the number 3 overall pick with the Houston Texans is in. Let's see. I wonder, my bet, the Texans are going after Sauce Gardner, the quarterback out of the University of Cincinnati. They're going to go after the tackle from NC State, Ikem Ekwonu, or they're going to get Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal is the better tackle in this draft, but Ikem Ekwonu is going to offer you some more flexibility on that offensive line, which is why the Texans might be taking him, because they have some guys already there in their offensive line. that might be able to help piece around the puzzle a bit. I believe they have Laramie Tunzel at one tackle, so you have Ikamonu at the other tackle, or you could even have him, playing in at a guard if needed. The Lions make a great draft choice here. They improve that defense. They're going to get that defense turned around. 31st overall ranked defense by yardage and points and all of that. So, arguably, stats show the second worst defense in the NFL. I mean, it's tough to turn that around with one player, but one player can get you moving in the right direction. And a guy like Aiden Hutchinson coming off the edge has the ability to disrupt the quarterback as well, draw extra attention, requiring a double team on the edge. So you can see maybe teams, when they counteract Aiden Hutchinson, they're going to start to double team Aiden, which is going to open up opportunities for some of these other guys. So a great pick that's going to be able to help improve that defensive line and improve that entire defensive unit right away, which is terrific to see if you are a Detroit Lions fan. And myself, a Michigan fan, very happy for him. I didn't really want him to go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's where great players and great prospects go to die. I hate to say it, but that's the fact. That's what it's been like the last handful of years. The Detroit Lions are on the come up. Motor City Dan Campbell is a great ball coach. He's going to get that program, get that team turned around. And some rumors are telling me here, Derek Stingley Jr., the cornerback out of LSU, going to the Texans. Let's look. Let's see. That's what the rumor is right here. That's what's coming out. Let's see what Roger Goodell has to say. Wow, that's an interesting pick there. Derek Stingley Jr., the number 3 pick to the Houston Texans at corner. It's a good pick. He's a great ball player. He's going to be a high impact player right away. But wow, that is not something I was expecting or hear. I don't think many people were expecting that. Vegas is loud. Not a lot of cheers in Vegas. I don't know if it's Texans fans booing or it's fans of other teams booing because they wanted Derek Stingley Jr. But an interesting draft choice nonetheless. Everybody kind of argue, is Sauce Gardner the best corner or is Derek Stingley Jr. the best corner? Personally, I think Derek Stingley Jr. could have he's one of those guys that it's hard to explain him. He has a lot of potential, a lot of potential, but I don't know if he's going to be what Sauce Gardner could be. I mean, we saw Sauce Gardner didn't allow a single touchdown in his college career. And this isn't me just being a Cincinnati fanboy. Like, I was not a Cincinnati Bearcats college football fan. I think Sauce Gardner could be a guy that can just lock up receivers one-on-one on an island. I think Derek Stingley Jr. can be a great fit for these NFL teams. But if I was the GM of the Texans and I was going corner, I would have taken preferably Sauce Gardner. The biggest kind of argument against Sauce Gardner, though, is the lack of competition he faced being at Cincinnati, playing all of those schools in the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. Kind of their biggest matchup was Houston or a few out-of-conference matchups against subpar teams like Notre Dame, who just don't have the talent that some of these SEC schools have. So Derek Stingley Jr. could be a guy that comes in right away, and I think he might be, you can argue, maybe more NFL ready than Sauce Gardner, but Derek Stingley Jr. is a player that can easily be disrupted, I think. His growth could be disrupted, where Sauce Gardner kind of has this big curve and you know where he's going to end up. Derek Stingley Jr. could kind of go up and then just collapse. I mean, every prospect can do that, but I think Derek Stingley Jr. is a more risky draft choice at this position. If I'm the Texans, I mean, I'm not the happiest with this pick as just an NFL coverage guy, as a reporter, as a journalist, and all that. I think you should have went with a guy like Ikem Ekwonu, Evan Neal, or maybe at most Sauce Gardner. But I didn't see Derek Stingley Jr. going this early in the draft. congratulations to him. Very positive feelings for him. I can't imagine the feelings he has right now going number 3 overall, accomplishing that dream he set out to since he was a young age, since he was a young kid. But wow, it's gonna be a wild night already. I mean, I don't think many people had Derek Stingley Jr. going number 3 overall to the Houston Texans, but here we are. It's gonna be a very interesting draft after seeing these first couple picks. To say 1 and 2, pretty predictable, but number 3 is catching a lot of people off guard in the Twitter universe and Twitter world and the NFL world as well. All right, we're back. We're back. Had a little technical difficulty there, a little technical glitch, but we're back and moving. We're back in, moving already. The Jets pick is in. Jets at number 4 already in. It's going to be very interesting to see who comes here. If you're the Jets, I mean, one, you're happy Sauce Gardner's still available after seeing the Texans go cornerback. But realistically here, you're thinking best available is Ikem Ekwonu as well. You got guys like Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner. You also have Kyle Hamilton out there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets went Kyle Hamilton or Sauce Gardner. I believe you go Sauce Gardner here because Kyle Hamilton might slide a bit lower. I think you go or Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeau's still out there. If you're the Jets, you might go Kayvon 4, Kyle Hamilton 10, or you may go Sauce Gardner 4 and then go wide receiver at 10. Or you can take Sauce Gardner and trade out at 10 and maybe get 15 and 20. See what you can get here. See if you can get somewhere in that 13, 14, 15 spot and grab an extra second round draft choice. But the looks of it in the Jets draft room, they are ecstatic right now just seeing these draft choices. Whoever they put that name on the card, they're very happy with that name. If I'm a betting man, I'm thinking Sauce Gardner's coming here, but I'm not too sure. Not too sure here who they're taking. I hope it's Sauce Gardner. I think that's a smart choice. If I was the New York Jets general manager, I'm taking Sauce Gardner here. Cornerback is a weak spot. You're taking him. He's arguably, in my opinion, I think he's probably the third, fourth best player in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes in at this number 4 overall selection. You got Ahmad Gardner. Ahmad Gardner is 6'3", 190-pounder, graded out at 87.1. That is extremely high grade from Pro Football Focus, especially as a defensive back. A defensive back who did not allow a single touchdown in his collegiate football career. Not many guys can say that, especially if they're playing and having such a storied career as him. 4 years, 4 years there at UC, not allowing a single touchdown is very, very impressive. And it appears the New York Jets have taken Ahmad Sauce Gardner out of the University of Cincinnati, a cornerback. That is a terrific pick. They just got a guy that could be the next Darrelle Revis, honestly. Just a guy who can lock up in man coverage and be absolutely dominant. I think this is a terrific draft choice. You take Sauce Gardner here, you immediately improve that defense. Zero questions asked. And then you look to take advantage at another draft slot here to build and improve that offense. Get a wide receiver. Maybe you get Drake London, the guy who's kind of skyrocketed up the draft boards, or you take a guy, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, or maybe even go out and get another defensive guy like Kyle Hamilton. Just say, screw it, we're going to load up the defense. But right now, big question mark. Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau's fallen. Will Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon fall out of the top 5 here? I don't know. The Giants, if you're the Giants, do you take Kayvon Thibodeau as a Giant? I think as the Giants look to take, I think the Giants need to take Evan Neal or Ikem Ekwonu here to help shore up that offensive line. Get a guy that can go out there and block for Saquon as well as save Daniel Jones some hits. It's going to be interesting to see who they take here. I'm thinking if I'm a betting person, if I have to take a bet, I think they go Ikem Ekwonu. But I would prefer them to take Evan Neal. I would take Evan Neal if I was the GM. I like Evan Neal. I like these guys from Bama a lot at the offensive line position. I think they're just some dominant players. I think they can just get after it. I think they can just bully around some of these guys, just absolutely be a unit, be a glass eater, as they like to call these offensive linemen. I think that's the move here. Hey, what's up, Dane? I see you, bro. I appreciate you watching. All right, Dane, I got a question for you, man. Who are you taking at 5 if you're the New York Giants? Who we taking here? Who we taking? What are you thinking? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Who we taking? If you're the general manager of the New York Giants, who are we taking, Dane? Who are we taking, man? Do you go offensive line or do you try and grab Kayvon Thibodeau here? What do you think? Yeah, once again, I mean, still in Sauce Gardner. I just can't. I don't think people realize the difficulties and how impressive it is to not allow a single touchdown in college. I don't care. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh, he played at UC." Who do you play? But I don't think people realize how impressive it is to not allow a single touchdown in your collegiate football career, especially at a position like cornerback, because one slip up, touchdown. That's what it is. At corner, if you get beat, you're dead. So it's just extremely, extremely, extremely impressive. But now the New York Giants selection is in. It took a while compared to some of these other teams. They took 7.5 minutes on the clock. 7.5 of the 10 minutes. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were fielding some calls. The Giants were a team that was looking to potentially trade out the number 5 spot. So maybe they were calling some teams, seeing what was on the table. But at any point, you just make your choice. I think they got – so obviously the picks is the Giants are selecting here. I think they're going to be taking Ikem Ekwonu, Evan Neal, or Kayvon Thibodeau. I think the smart choice here is going offensive line if you're the New York Giants, but very well could take Kayvon Thibodeau. You can't fault them for taking Kayvon Thibodeau. You got to be best available mode to an extent, but the Giants also need to fix some holes. They have a new coaching staff coming in, so it's going to be very interesting to see who they select, who's on the card when Roger Goodell steps up to the podium. But the Giants need to turn it around. They haven't been the same. Saquon's just got to stay healthy. If you can keep Daniel Jones upright, it could be a good year. But with Daniel Jones entering some of these last season and a half, 2 years of his contract, you're going to have to figure out, will he be that franchise piece? And if you want to find that and answer that question, I think you take offensive line here to give him a chance. And just hope Saquon stays healthy. I think you got to give Daniel Jones some weapons, and not even some weapons, just give him a security blanket or two out there, Let him know he's going to be protected. Let him know he's going to be standing upright at the end of the day, because that's the biggest thing at quarterback. QBR when you're protected is like 75, 75 QBR if you're protected, and it drops down to a 48, 38 when you're getting pass rushed. So that's the big question here. The Giants have to go offensive line, in my opinion. They have to go offensive line. They got to take Ikem Ekwonu or Evan Neal. My personal choice is Evan Neal, but I could be perfectly okay with them selecting Ikem Ekwonu here. Let's see the picks coming in. Let's look here. That's awesome. Good sight to see. Make-A-Wish event happening here. Make-A-Wish fan of the New York Giants coming up to the podium to help the selection. That's a great story. Hyping up Roger Goodell, getting that crowd going. You'd love to see that. Good feels, good memory. I'm excited to see that. Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. The New York Giants are going to let this kid, in the NFL as well, are going to allow this young man the opportunity to step to the podium and announce the pick. That's awesome. That is great. That's great. Absolutely terrific to see. Oh, the mic fell. They took Kayvon Thibodeau. Wow. Wow. Okay. The New York Giants select the defensive end out of Oregon, Kayvon Thibodeau, a guy who was earlier on after the end of that college football season was guys saying that, could be number one, could be number two. It should have been Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson going 1-2. The Giants, I think they get a big steal here. They get a big time steal here. A guy who could end up being like a Jadeveon Clowney-esque player on that defensive side of the ball. A couple-year Pro Bowler, big-time player. Few-time All-Pro selection, more or less. I think that's Kayvon Thibodeau's kind of ceiling, but also where I expect him to go. That's kind of his career path. I think he's going to be a guy who's a Pro Bowler, All-Pro. I'm very excited to see that. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is a great choice here. There are a lot of question marks surrounding his effort, his care, and kind of love for the game almost. Guys just think he was lazy. Some scouts thought he was kind of lazy and not fully interested into the process, which it's tough. The NFL Combine process, the workout process is tough. But I think when you get this guy on a football field, he just loves to play ball at the end of the day. Sometimes maybe you don't enjoy the work or the grind, but I think he's a guy that just loves to play ball at the end of the day. And I think this is a terrific selection for the New York Giants. Absolutely terrific selection. Working on. Wow, let's see. The Carolina Panthers drafting at number 6, 4 minutes left on the clock as I'm speaking. Carolina Panthers gotta go. I feel like Kenny Pickett might be the move. Kenny Pickett very well could be the move here. I think as well. You can see an offensive lineman going to the Carolina Panthers, or maybe even a trade out. An interesting storyline to pay attention to here with this draft choice. If it's Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, as we see Matt Rule step up to get on his phone, might be making the call. And we got eyes on Malik Willis there, eyes on Kenny Pickett as well. An interesting storyline is Matt Rule, when he was a college football coach at Temple University, he recruited Kenny Pickett to Temple. So they have some ties. They got some deep ties there. So could be something to pay attention to. It may be very interesting. I think as Matt Rule kind of enters some of these seasons here with Tepper as the owner, kind of feeling a little anxious, like, hey, man, we need to see some results, I think Matt Rule could go quarterback here, look for a quarterback. He can say, hey, this is my guy. Give me the next 3 to 4 seasons to turn this thing around. I think that's what they're going to be looking for here. Personally, I think Malik Willis has the highest upside of all players in this draft at the quarterback position. I think Matt Corral has the lowest floor, and I think Kenny Pickett is the safest option to an extent. Obviously, you're going to say Matt Corral, I think, is the safest quarterback choice because you know what you're going to get from him. But I think Kenny Pickett is the safest pick because if he busts, great, you're going to have a guy that's a Pro Bowler at the quarterback position. But if he doesn't bust, you'll have a decent starter for the next 2 to 3 seasons. And you can say, okay, well, maybe we go draft a new guy. Maybe we can get a free agent. Maybe we can sign a veteran somewhere like that. I think Kenny Pickett is the choice here personally. I believe you'll see Kenny Pickett be selected to the Carolina Panthers. Just knowing some of those ties that they have in Carolina with Matt Rule and Kenny Pickett. Going back to the days where Matt Rule's at Temple, Kenny Pickett led the Pitt University of Pittsburgh. I don't know what it is, but it's Pitt football. They let them play. He led them to a quality season this year and was a good starting quarterback at Pitt throughout his career and led Pitt some games, led him in some tough ball games, got him some W's, and also kept him in some games they had no business being in. The biggest question mark around Kenny Pickett is his hands. Are his hands big enough? Are his hands small enough? But what Kenny Pickett had a great quote saying, doesn't matter when I sling it 45 yards on a rope. I love that attitude. I think that's a great attitude to have because at this point, the combine guys are just looking for little nitpicky things, just trying to find a way, to make a guy make a comment or just trying to discredit a pick or say we can't take him because his hands are too small. It doesn't make sense. Like I get the stat, I get why you look at it, but if a guy can ball, a guy can ball. And Kenny Pickett at the end of the day can ball. I think Kenny Pickett should be the quarterback selection for the Carolina Panthers at the number 6 overall draft choice. Man, this NFL, wow, this looks great. So Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett, chances either are available at pick number 11 is 98% according to NFL's draft predictor. At number 16 and 95, at number 19, 86, and at number 20, a 74% chance. So what the breakdown is, and that stat that they've been going off of is if quarterbacks aren't taken in the top 5, they tend to be taken very late in the back half of the draft. So around 10 to 11 last year, I think Justin Fields was the draft choice to the Chicago Bears in that 10 to 11 range. I think it might have been the number 11 pick. Don't quote me on it, but about that range. So I think that's somewhere you can see like a Justin Fields, Mac Jones type where they're like 11 to 15. That's where they got drafted last year because I don't think there's any clear-cut number 1 quarterback in this draft. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of teams kind of be shrugging their shoulders. Like, do we take him early? Do we take it late? They don't know because there's not this guy's like worth that number 1 overall draft choice at quarterback. In years past, you see guys like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert go 1, 2, 3 in that range, where now you're going to see, all right, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett might go 6, might go 10, might go 15, might go 20. It's kind of an interesting year. And you saw that in the Chicago Bears draft take last year. Although their coaching staff's been fired, but they made the right thing by making a trade to get their quarterback last year because they thought Justin Fields was much better than any of these guys. And I think Justin Fields is much better than all these guys. I think if you look at any of the first-round draft choices last year at the quarterback position, all of them would have went number 1 in this draft, I think, compared to what we have here. I think this draft is an overall at the quarterback position, a very weak draft. I think this is going to be a more heavy defense, heavy skill position, and heavy lineman draft rather than a quarterback draft, which we see in years past, which is normally what we look at. And the Carolina Panthers go out and they at number 6, they get Ikem Ikwonu, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina State. Okay. It's a solid draft choice. I like that. I like that a lot. You saw that the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers a few weeks ago said that Sam Darnold was their guy. You also got to remember Baker Mayfield's out there and available. I personally would like to see Baker Mayfield line up in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, those guys out there in Carolina. I think that could be a very good look for the team out there. I think that's a great look. I think maybe a day 2 trade for Baker Mayfield's a real possibility out there for some programs. I think this is going to be a good draft a good draft for Baker Mayfield because there's no quarterbacks really. And somebody might be willing to take Baker Mayfield because they know they're going to get with Baker Mayfield. There's no question marks. So you see Onu kind of plays a little bit of left guard, kind of plays a little bit of left tackle, a lot of flexibility, which is very nice. And as well, another thing to look at as the game's changing a bit, we saw it a lot with San Fran this past season. They would take Trent Williams, their left tackle, and get him in motion. Get him out there as a lead blocker, and I think Ikem Ikwonu has the athleticism and the ability and the awareness to do that. So I think Ikem Ikwonu is a great selection for the Carolina Panthers there. And now at number 7, the New York Giants are on the clock with about 4 minutes left. Mel Kiper's best available, number 1, Kyle Hamilton. And then at number 2, Evan Neal. I think the New York Giants very well could take Evan Neal. But I'm not 100% sure who they take. You got Kayvon Thibodeau at the last choice. But now you got to move on and try to bolster up the rest of that team, rest of the franchise. All right, the Giants pick is in. They got in with about 3 minutes left here. Let's look. Trying to keep up with Twitter too. Trying to keep up with the news. It's rough. We're going live here. About to hit the hour mark, the end of hour 1. Let's look. Okay. So the Giants pick is in. They did not trade out of number 7, which a lot of teams thought that the New York Giants, not a lot of teams, a lot of analysts thought that they would trade out. They thought they would trade out here. They thought that they would trade out of number 7 as I'm getting some inside information here from Las Vegas. All right, let's look. So we got Mel's best available. We got Kyle Hamilton, Evan Neal, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and Jermaine Johnson. So my opinion, if you're the New York Giants, you take Garrett Wilson or Evan Neal. You already bolstered your defense. You got that defense improved, which is a much needed thing. I think you got to take Evan Neal to protect Daniel Jones, or you go out there and get a guy like Garrett Wilson to be a stud and add that to your offense with Kadarius Toney, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and see if you can go on a run. See if you can go on a run, protect that guy, and get going. I think that's a big thing. I think that's a big question mark here. As Siri interrupts the live. Jeez, Siri, go away. Let's see who we got here. Coming in number 7 overall. Roger Goodell steps to the podium, whips out the card, and starts to read the card as the crowd of Las Vegas boos him away. And they go out and select Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama. A great choice. Probably who I think they should go with. I'm the GM of the Giants. I'm taking him. You got to protect Daniel Jones. Got to get a guy that can go out there, make some room for Saquon Barkley. I think it's a great draft choice. And now we're going to see the New York Giants take Evan Neal at number 7, and the Atlanta Falcons will soon be on the clock with best available Kyle Hamilton and Garrett Wilson. I think the Atlanta Falcons at the number 8 pick look to take Garrett Wilson with about 6:50 left on the clock. I think you take Garrett Wilson here, especially if you guys remember Calvin Ridley suspended for this 2022 season, 2023 season, whatever season's coming up next. Suspended for the next season. Suspended for the next season due to gambling on NFL games. So he's suspended for that next season, suspended indefinitely. So at least the next season could be more. So I think you got to replace him. I think you got to get a wide receiver here and another offensive weapon for Marcus Mariota, who's now the starter for the Atlanta Falcons after they traded Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts. I think you take Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams, but I think Garrett Wilson is the guy that is going to be selected here at the number 8 overall pick. .5:30 left on the clock for the Atlanta Falcons. And after this pick, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to have 5 minutes left on the clock for the Atlanta Falcons. Not going to be a long break, just a little 30-second break as I try and set up some guest room features for the guests about to join us here later on in the show, trying to make sure we get all that technical side of things sorted out for us. But the Atlanta Falcons here, 5 minutes left, round 1 at number 8 overall selection. We're going to be looking for the Atlanta Falcons to get Marcus Mariota some help on the offensive side of the ball. Or if they go defense, I think they take Jermaine Johnson or Kyle Hamilton. Personally, I think they stay offense. I think they take Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, or you see Drake London. It shouldn't be that. It should be, very well should be Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson seems to be the correct choice at this slot in the draft. That's what I'm thinking personally. That's where my head's at. I think you take Garrett Wilson at number 8. And the Seahawks at number 9. Take Charles Cross, I believe. I believe that's the next best pick after that. I think you might take Charles Cross. And then I think you see number 10, the New York Jets, go out and get themselves an offensive weapon like Jameson Williams. So I think we see number 8, Garrett Wilson, number 9, Charles Cross, number 10, Kyle Hamilton, or Jameson Williams. The Seahawks as well could look quarterback to an extent. They have Drew Lock, Geno Smith. But, I mean, as we can tell, Geno Smith, not a franchise quarterback. Drew Lock, still young, has a shot. But I'm not sure. Not sure if that's the move here. But as we're looking here, the number 8 overall selection, the Falcons received a 2022 third-round draft pick for Matt Ryan of the Indianapolis Colts. So last season, they had Kyle Pitts. They were last in the NFL by receiving yards by wide receivers. Kyle Pitts led the team in reception and yards, a rookie last year, rookie tight end out of Florida. And you have Calvin Ridley, who's suspended at least the 2022 season. So I think the Falcons got to go out there and bolster up that wide receiver core. So I think it's Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams selected here. If you take Garrett Wilson here, I think that is a terrific pick. You take Jameson Williams. I can't argue it either. I think Jameson Williams has just slid down some of these boards due to that knee injury he suffered in the college football playoff. So I think if you take Garrett Wilson here at number 8, you'll see Charles Cross at 9, Jameson Williams at 10, or Jameson Williams 8, Cross 9, Garrett Wilson 10. So I think it's going to be Jameson Williams at number 10, Charles Cross at 9, Garrett Wilson at number 8 for the Atlanta Falcons. As we see Roger Goodell step up to the podium once again tonight. It's going to be a familiar theme we see here for the rest of night number 1. Wow. Very, very interesting. That was a little bit of a surprise pick to me. You get Drake London, the wide receiver out of USC, going to be the newest wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, looking to bolster up that offensive receiving core. I think Drake London's a good pick. I think he's a great player, but I think Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams are a little bit better in my personal opinion. Drake London, kind of a guy that a lot of people have been kind of hard on. Not the best route runner, not going to be the guy who gets the most explosiveness, not the guy who's going to get you the most breakaway room. He's not a breakaway receiver. He's just kind of a jump ball winner. So I think if he can be developed, I think it's going to be a good choice. NFL comp is going to be Vincent Jackson, Mike Evans, some of those bigger receivers. Slower. When I say slower, all of these guys are fast as can be, but a little bit slower. Probably a guy that runs about a 4.5, 4.6, 40, but a great jump ball receiver being selected by the Atlanta Falcons. And we're going to go to a quick break. Are back. All right, we're back and ready to go. All right, so still Seattle Seahawks on the clock here. 5 minutes left. I wonder who we're going to see being selected at the number 9 slot. My guess, you might see a man like Charles Cross, Kyle Hamilton, Garrett Wilson even. Would not be shocked if there's a trade out here. Trade out is a very likely option for the Seattle Seahawks, who are rebuilding and might be looking to get some more assets to help further along that rebuild. I wonder who we're going to see be taken here at the number 9 slot. Once again, I say thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube already, just take a quick 5-10 seconds. Go down there, hit the subscribe button. It's really going to help me out, make my day. And also, it's gonna let you know about when I upload some of these videos here. I think all these videos here are pretty good content in my opinion. Just helping me chase my dream and keep watching along with you guys. I like having you guys alongside every step of the way. Let's keep this thing going. We're going good. We're going strong. We're hour 12 in right now, and we're on the number 9 overall selection. It's going well. I'm having a great time. Hope you guys are too. Let's see. 3 minutes left now here for the Seattle Seahawks. In my notes, I think it's going to be a Charles Cross selection, in my personal opinion, if not a trade out of the number 9 overall pick, as we now enter 2.5 minutes left on the clock for the Seattle Seahawks. All right, the Seattle Seahawks pick is in as we're on a commercial break with the NFL and ESPN, of course. Let's see who we got here. So obviously, the Seattle Seahawks did not trade out. They did not trade out. They took the pick. They didn't trade out. No trades yet, and as we enter, the number 10 overall pick. So Mel Kiper, best available prospect, is going to be Kyle Hamilton at number 9, or Garrett Wilson. The Seattle Seahawks and Broncos traded. So the Seahawks got rid of Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick for the 2022 second and 5th-round pick, 2023 first and 2nd-round pick, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and defensive end Shelby Harris. So more or less, Broncos here, not the Broncos, the Seahawks here, the Seahawks here, looking to take an offensive guy, my personal opinion, whether that is an offensive lineman or wide receiver, or they're taking Kyle Hamilton. They're not going to be taking anybody else on the defensive side of the ball unless their name is Kyle Hamilton. But on offense, they're most likely going to be taking a guy named Charles Cross or Garrett Wilson, I think. Vegas looks absolutely terrific. It appears Charles Cross is going to be the pick at number 9, according to some of my sources out of Vegas. Let's look here who we got. We got Roger Goodell back at the podium. Number 9 overall selection is in. It is going to be outstanding. Offensive tackle out of Mississippi State, I believe. Charles Cross, the offensive tackle, going to Seattle. I think that's going to be a good look. I think it's going to protect a lot of people out there. I think it's going to protect Drew Lock, Geno Smith, or whoever out there in Seattle playing quarterback. I think it's a great pick. It's going to help bolster up that offensive line because I think we've seen in the past the Russell Wilson days and the Seahawks, not a lot of protections. Russell Wilson having to run around like crazy. So I think we see Charles Cross come here, protect that next quarterback, the next man in line, which is a great choice. Going to be 6'4", 307 pounds out of Mississippi State. It's a great draft choice. Number 67, Charles Cross, playing that left tackle. Great pass protector, being the blind side for the next quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. I think it's a great choice. It's going to help them have an elite offense. And once again, maybe one day, true cornerstone and a guy that's going to be sticking around in Seattle for quite some time, if I had to imagine. I think this guy is just a pure pass protector. Not the great run blocking type, but at that left tackle position, you're looking for a great pass protector, someone that's going to be able to keep your quarterback standing upright, keep that jersey clean all night long. You don't want to be somebody who's has their quarterback on the ground a lot, very similar to the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think you're going to want number 67, Charles Cross, on your offensive line if you are a Seattle Seahawks fan. Just shows his ability to take guys one-on-one, absolutely dominate them. It's not someone you have to worry about too much. It's a guy you can just wipe out there, pass protection, and you know he's going to take care of it for you. You don't have to worry about having a double team. You're just going to know, I got a guy who's going to be able to take out their guy and help out my offense. So if you have a weaker offensive line, like the Seattle Seahawks do, having a guy like Charles Cross helps a lot. Double team elsewhere, double team everybody else, help out another weaker offensive lineman, which is what you need at this level. The New York Jets selecting at number 10. They received the number 10 overall pick back when they traded for trade away Jamal Adams to the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seattle Seahawks could have had a few picks here, but now the Jets pick is in. They look very happy about this selection. It's great to see a lot of happy faces going around here. I think they're going to be taking Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams here. I think that's going to be the guy they end up selecting here. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think the Jets need to go out there and get an offensive weapon for their guy, Zach Wilson, the quarterback at BYU. I think he could be a guy for the future, but I think you need to get someone that he can throw to, get him some weapons. Braxton Berrios just not cutting it. You got to have more than just Braxton Berrios. And it is surprising at this number 10 spot because the rumor is the Jets were going to give up a king's ransom for Deebo Samuel, which is very interesting to see. So unless the Jets are drafting somebody here for the 49ers to trade directly to for Deebo, I don't know. I think the Jets could be taking Garrett Wilson, taking a Jameson Williams here. I think they should have traded for Deebo, but if the Deebo trade came off the table, I think it's a fair chance they take a wide receiver here. I think it's going to be a good choice if they take Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams, even Chris Olave. I think any of those three guys going here at number 10 are fine choices. As an NFL fan, I wish we would have seen the Jets take a chance and get Deebo, but I think the 49ers might have shot them down as I get some news here coming out of Twitter. I'll pull that up for you guys and share it all with you. Pull it up. It's going to be news again from Ian Rappaport as Roger Goodell takes to the podium. Let's pull it up here on Twitter. We're going to see the wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, at number 10, be the pick for the New York Jets. But as we see here, at the number 10 pick, the Jets select their speed wide receiver, OSU's Garrett Wilson. This is the same pick they offered to the 49ers in a package for Deebo Samuel. They use it for wide receiver instead. So I think what we see here is that the the San Francisco 49ers shot down the trade proposal from the New York Jets for Deebo Samuel, but instead they take Garrett Wilson. I think this is a fine selection. Garrett Wilson of Ohio State is going to be a big-time NFL wide receiver, speedy guy can play in the slot, play on the outside, do a lot of different things for your offense. I think it's a great choice here for the New York Jets. If you're a Jets fan, I think you really want a Deebo Samuel, but you got to be happy with this draft choice here. Zach Wilson likes that long ball, and I think Garrett Wilson's a guy who can get after that long ball as well, hit those intermediate short routes, which are quick hitters in the NFL with a guy like his speed. Just let him get out in space and play, and I think you can see that happen quite a bit here. I say the NFL comps, man, they're going deep for some of these NFL comps. My NFL comp for Garrett Wilson is going to be seeing like a dude like a Jalen Waddle. I think you might see a guy like Jalen Waddle be compared to Garrett Wilson as well. I think you might see some people very similar. Tyreek Hill is a bit of a stretch, I think. Let's see here. Who's another guy that we could compare him to? Wide receivers. I think maybe a shorter receiver, a little quicker receiver, kind of like an Odell type. Garrett Wilson's a pretty solid route runner. I think that's who we see. Chris Olave is a better route runner of the two. I think that's who we might see. Someone that's just a good athlete, very fast, seems to float in the air. And I think that's what you're going to get with Garrett Wilson, a great deep ball threat. But I believe there's going to be a trade here at number 11. I think we're going to see the Washington Commanders trade with the New Orleans Saints for the number 11 draft choice. So this could be that move that we were talking about earlier. The Saints potentially trade up to take Malik Willis at 11. Maybe they're taking a guy, taking their guy Chris Olave maybe. I'm not sure who they might take here, but they're going to be taking somebody. They obviously have somebody in their eyes that they want at number 11 that they obviously had to make a trade for. I'm going to try and get more details for you as this goes on. Trying to see. Let's see if we can pull up any information here about this trade that just happened. So the Washington Commanders trading back from 11 to the Saints, but no information on who is going where or what is going where. Obviously, the number 10 pick we just saw, but now number 11 with 4 minutes left on the clock, New Orleans Saints had to make a choice here pretty quick, but you don't trade up to number 11 without having an idea who you want. So the New Orleans Saints know who they want, just crossing their T's, dotting their I's, just making sure everything is ready before they announce this draft choice here as we hit 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. Interesting draft so far. No quarterbacks have been selected. One wide receiver, I think, has been selected so far. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think we might see another offensive player. We very well could see our first quarterback come off the board here. Or the Saints really love a guy like Kyle Hamilton, something like that on the defensive side of the ball, and they really want to take advantage of that. I think that's what we might be seeing here. I think it's going to be quarterback or somebody that's fell just enough, and the Saints say, hey, we love this guy in our pre-draft interviews, but we didn't think we would be able to get him. Now he's fell, and they're going to make a big-time move. So I think we're going to see a guy like Kyle Hamilton, Malik Willis, or Jared Johnson. Jared Johnson out of Florida State. I mean, not Jared. Was it Jermaine Johnson? Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, I believe. Yeah, I think we're going to see the Saints. If we open up, getting the pre-draft notes, I think we will see. I think we're going to see Kyle Hamilton, who's the number 2 overall prospect in my pre-draft analysis. I think we'll have Kyle Hamilton, Trent McDuffie, or we will see a guy like, what's his name? Nakobe Dean or Malik Willis. But more or less, I think we will see offensive side of the ball be drafted here at number 11. I believe it'll be quarterback Malik Willis coming at 11 if I had to put money on this pick, because you don't make this draft choice here unless someone's foul. So it has to be Kyle Hamilton or Malik Willis. 2 minutes now on the clock. The Saints are going to be using up this time. I wonder what's going on. There must be some deep discussion here. Maybe some different thoughts in the war room right now. After making that trade, maybe second chances, second thoughts, or just getting a little worried here. Oh, shoot, we got somebody in. What's going on? Is that you, Brett? What's up, man?
Not much. What's going on?
How you doing, man? You watching the draft?
I am, yeah. Wait, hold
What
on.
do you think? What do you think?
What
What
do
do
you
you
think?
think? You at work right now?
Yeah.
This man out here grinding. What's up, man? So, what do you think? Did you see the Saints just made this trade to number 11?
Oh, I did, yeah. Right before it went on
Who do you think
commercial.
they take? Who do you think? You think Malik Willis might be the quarterback they take? What are you thinking, Brett?
That's tough. That's tough. I
It
don't know.
is.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we could see Malik Willis go here or Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame, maybe.
Yeah,
Look at
definitely.
there, man. You see some nervous faces in there. You watching what I'm seeing right now? A
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of nervous faces there, man.
Could go either way.
Wonder what they did. I wonder what they're thinking. So, what have you been thinking so far, Brett? What do you think? Any big thoughts from you so far?
Not so far. I kind of expected to see more quarterbacks earlier on.
I agree. I thought we were going to see quarterbacks go top 5 personally,
Yeah,
but it hasn't happened yet. It could be your first quarterback right here.
definitely.
Who do you think is the first quarterback that goes in the draft?
I don't even know,
Malik
honestly.
Willis? Do you think Malik Willis? Kenny Pickett? Who do you think?
Uh, that's tough. I don't know, because I would have thought either one of them would have already been selected, so.
I agree. 100%. I think one of them should have been selected by now. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But
Definitely.
as a Bengals fan, are you wanting to see a corner being taken? You want to see a quarterback be taken? Or you want to see some more offensive line help?
Offensive line help.
Offensive line help for
Yeah.
sure. I agree.
Yeah,
We got to see Joey Burrow staying upright. You don't want to see him on the ground.
definitely.
Oh man, what's the Lions just traded 12?
Oh, really?
Wow. The Lions must have gotten nervous that the quarterback's going to be taken here in a second. Wow.
That's kind of wild.
It is, man. We're saying one trade's going to change this entire thing. Now we're seeing a bunch of trades happening.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Roger Goodell? Are you a Roger Goodell fan or not?
I'm kind of indifferent. I don't keep up with them, but I don't have anything against them. So
Fair. Let's say, how do you feel about him being booed off the stage every single time he's been up there tonight?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. To see what is happening here. But
Definitely.
what are you looking forward to this NFL season?
Hopefully, I don't know. I always like seeing teams that weren't always like the best last season just kind of pop off. So just more competition from teams that weren't as competitive last season.
Definitely. I think that's going to be a fair choice. How far do you think the Bengals go next year? Obviously, being a Bengals fan, what do you think?
I mean, honestly, I feel like I could take it just as far.
I agree. Maybe even win it.
Hopefully.
I like it. I like the attitude.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like the attitude a lot. Hopefully we can all hope, right? We can all hope for another Super Bowl run. I need it again in my life.
Yeah. Definitely.
I agree. I completely agree. 1,000%. I'm gonna say, imagine how it would be like if you're an NFL prospect, kid coming out of college, and you're sitting there hearing your name being announced tonight. That has to be such a great feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely terrific feeling. A great feeling nonetheless.
Yeah.
But who is your favorite quarterback for this coming season, not named Joe Burrow?
Favorite quarterback for this upcoming season? Oh man, I don't even know. That's tough.
Do you think Pat Mahomes has a great season again? Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs bounce back? Do you think Tua explodes with Tyreek Hill?
I can see Mahomes staying consistent with where he was last season.
I agree. I think Mahomes is a bounce back season. I think as well Well, it's going to be interesting to see Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out. I think
Mm-hmm.
Lucas, I haven't talked to Lucas, but I think he's very upset that Devontae Adams is no longer a Packer.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then we got Ohio State receiver Chris Olave go to the Saints. You a big Ohio State fan yourself?
I do. I like Ohio State. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's crazy. You have two wide receivers that could go in the top 15 coming out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well could go back to back as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very well could go back to back. I think you'd see Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. I mean, it's crazy. That's wild to see these guys go this early. Two great wide receivers for sure.
Yeah. We'll see.
Definitely for sure. Say, how's life going? How's the work going?
Pretty good.
Work slow?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Watching the draft. What time are you getting off tonight with the draft and all that? You staying in late?
I got about another 30 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Not too bad. Day's coming to an end.
Yeah.
Day's coming to an end. Are there any big NFL fans in the office? Any good reactions so far?
Most of them have already left.
Most of them already left. They don't
Yeah.
appreciate the work like you.
No.
No, they don't appreciate the work like you, man.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate it. This is why you're going to be a great worker one day. You like to put in those extra hours, just like these guys we're seeing here in the NFL draft.
Oh,
Put
yeah.
in the extra hours, the extra reps, on the mic. Try to get those sales.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Would you ever attend the NFL draft as a fan?
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
Where would you want to go? Do you want to go? Think about, because obviously NFL teams host it. What city would you want to go to, or what city would you like to see it hosted in?
Somewhere warm, honestly.
Somewhere warm. Fair. I don't blame you. It's a dangerous game in April because it was snowing earlier this week here in Ohio, Indiana area.
Probably like Tampa.
Tampa would be a good spot.
Or LA.
You know, it's coming to Detroit in a few years. I think next year's going to Detroit.
That could go either way.
Yeah, Detroit could be either could be miserable, could be snow on the ground, a couple inches of snow on the ground, or you're gonna be down out here in Las Vegas, and it looks so beautiful out there. Out on the strip, looks terrific.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You got any marketing advice or any life advice you want to share while we're in between picks?
Persistence.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Is that how do you work persistence into your everyday life?
Oh. I think just having that mindset and just like remembering it makes it a lot of stuff easier to overcome.
Definitely. I think that's great life advice. Coming from a great man yourself. Great life advice. I think you can't get too far without persistence. And I think we're seeing that here. I mean, these guys in the NFL, guys being selected, have went through a lot in their lives. And I think guys like Jermaine Johnson, if you're familiar with Last Chance U, had to go play community college football. They went to Georgia, transferred away from Georgia, and then went to Florida State. I mean, that talk about persistence right there. That guy went through a lot to get to the point where he's at right now.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all going to pay off. It's all going to pay off one day, and that's what we all look for. That one day where it all pans out for us. I think it's a great feeling.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great feeling and terrific advice from the Brett Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you think going to Detroit as a player? Would you be happy to go to Detroit, be having the chance to turn around a team, or you want to be drafted to a team that's already good and you want to be that guy that's like, I'm what we need to win a Super Bowl? Would you rather turn a team around or be that missing piece?
I don't know. Probably try and turn a team around. It's more rewarding.
I feel that. I agree. And I think that's what, if you get drafted to the Detroit Lions, I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
I think that's what you do. You're looking to find a guy who's willing to turn it around and value the turnaround. But Wow, the Lions traded away number 32, number 34, and a future third for the number 12 draft choice.
Wow.
Giving away a lot. It could be a quarterback here, Brett. This could be the first quarterback off the board that you're asking for.
Could be. Could be.
Very well could be. Man, being out there in Vegas looks so great right now.
Oh,
the
yeah.
storms of people, so many people out there. It looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What is it? Oh, Jameson Williams, Alabama. Okay. Not the quarterback you were expecting,
Yeah.
but a
Interesting.
good wide receiver. Jameson Williams was at Ohio State before he transferred to Bama. And then now at Bama, had a great season, but coming off that knee injury as well. I believe he tore his ACL in the playoff. Not bad. Not a bad draft choice here. Not a bad draft choice at all.
Yeah.
What do you think hearing the rumors about Deebo Samuel being maybe traded?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. I don't know where he would go.
I agree. I know everybody's saying he might go to the Jets, but he's not happy with the 49ers on Instagram. I can let you know that.
Yeah.
And have you seen the video of him in a club? So like when they bring out a huge thing like "Go 49ers," he's in there like, not me, not me. Not a good look. Not a good look.
Mm-mm. Definitely not.
Nah, man. I'll say, but Brett, it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I know you're at work and busy, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to hop on here. It was great talking with you, man.
For sure, yeah, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir, man. Great talking to you. Keep it up. I might hit you up when this quarterback gets taken.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. See you, buddy. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Appreciate it, big man. I say Brett Weaver is going to be one day multi-billion-dollar business owner of an NFL franchise. Going to turn in these businesses he owns, turns into hitting the lottery one day, owning an NFL team, and I'm going to be hopefully working in his front office one day. But now we're going to see number 13 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles, coming in to make a pick here. It's going to be interesting to see. So the last three selections have been wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. So we have Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams go 10, 11, 12. And now we're at number 13. We're at the Philadelphia Eagles. We got number 13 pick, Philadelphia Eagles on the clock. So Philadelphia Eagles. We have Jalen Hurts, quarterback. You got Miles Sanders in that backfield. You got Devontae Smith, who was their wide receiver draft choice previously. Could be a defensive pick. Could be Kyle Hamilton at number 13 as well. Could be sorts of people. I mean, at this point, the Eagles, they're open for a little bit of everything. They have some draft needs on both sides of the ball. But I wonder if you're, Sirianni, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to take offense or defense. You might be looking for a guy that's a gamer and competitor because Sirianni is all about competition. And you might go for a guy like Kyle Hamilton, uber athletic, uber competitive safety out of Notre Dame. Or me going on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know who drafts on the offensive side of the ball. Now you have three wide receivers taken. I mean, there's probably the three best offensive players besides quarterbacks, and the Eagles aren't really in a quarterback look. So I think you got Daxton Hill available. I think you got Jermaine Johnson. I think you got Kyle Hamilton. Or you got Trent McDuffie. I think those are the four people that we look here to see if they get taken. I believe Trent McDuffie is going to be our selection. I think we're going to get Trent McDuffie. I think we're going to get Kyle Hamilton here. I think we're going to get one of those two guys out of Notre Dame or Washington at at that defensive back position. we have the Eagles pick is in. Then at 14 and 15, we have Baltimore and Houston. So I think we're going to see Kyle Hamilton or Trent McDuffie go at number 13. Then at 14, we'll see Johnson out of Florida State. Then at 15, Houston. I'm not sure who they take at number 15. It's going to be varying a lot on these next two picks as well. Kind of seeing what trade offers go in their way. The Houston Texans could trade out at 15, could draft QB at 15. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure who they're going to select at number 15 as we await on pick number 13 with the Philadelphia Eagles and coach Sirianni with the quarterback of Jalen Hurts, running back Miles Sanders, and young up-and-coming wide receiver Devontae Smith. So I think we have number 13 pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, after being pump faked by ESPN that they actually had the pick by seeing some other draft coverage. So the Eagles-Texans trade. The Texans got number 15, a 2022 fourth, a 2022 fifth, two 2022 fifths for the 13th overall pick. So the Eagles move up 2 spots here, which is a pretty aggressive move, seeing what they gave up. So they really want whoever they draft here at number 13. They gave up quite a bit. They gave up some late rounders. Those late rounders sometimes are bust, sometimes they don't pan out. But they gave up several late round draft picks to move up 2 spots. So whoever the Philadelphia Eagles look to draft here, someone that they've been eyeballing all offseason, somebody that they really wanted and are ecstatic, fell to number 13. I'm not sure who they'll select as Philadelphia Eagle faithful showing up in Las Vegas and celebrating and partying like crazy out here. So Philadelphia Eagles pick number 13. No sign of Roger Goodell as the Philadelphia Eagles fans are out here celebrating in Las Vegas. I wonder who we get here at number 13. I think it's going to be Kyle Hamilton or Jermaine Johnson. Maybe even McDuffie, but I don't think you trade up to take McDuffie. I think you trade up to maybe take Hamilton because you're afraid he might fall to Baltimore. But I think more or less you trade to 14 because you're afraid that Jermaine Johnson doesn't last. I think that's why you trade up to number 13 to get him, as we see some Bishop Gorman high school football players take the podium. I think that's some Las Vegas area high school athletes. I believe that's what that looks like here, seeing a few other people roll up onto the stage. So we're going to see the number 13 overall pick. The Philadelphia Eagles should be taking Jermaine Johnson, I think. I think it's going to be Jermaine Johnson coming in here. Or they're going to take Jordan Davis. I think Jordan Davis is a name that's going to sneak in here in the second, in this next 4 or 5 picks. Jordan Davis, big-time defensive lineman out of Georgia. I don't think he goes at number 13. I think he might go here at 15 to 18, but I don't think he goes 13. But seeing that the Eagles were at 15, maybe they've just been in love with Jordan Davis all offseason. That could be why they traded up. It would be interesting to see what happens. So I think it's going to be Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, or it's going to be Jordan Davis out of Georgia. Defensive tackle, Jordan Davis out of Georgia, going number 13 overall to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's pretty good pick, honestly. It's a very good pick. I like that a lot. The Houston Texans felt that they were going to be able to get Jordan Davis all offseason, but I think they just saw offered too good to be true, and they weren't too sold on Jordan Davis maybe. But the Eagles really like Jordan Davis, willing to give it all up, willing to trade for him here. So I think that's why we got Jordan Davis at number 13 after seeing the Eagles give up quite a bit to move up 2 spots. I think it's a good choice for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to impact that run defense quite a bit. He's going to be a guy that help bolster up that defensive line. And a guy that can help dominate here in the NFC East and get the Eagles going deep in the playoffs here in the next few seasons. As we see the Baltimore Ravens on the clock at pick number 14. We're going to go to a quick 30-second break. All right, the Ravens pick is in. Ravens at the number 14 overall selection. Their pick is going to be in. I think we'll see them end up taking Jermaine Johnson. I think they'll take Jermaine Johnson. Or they could end up taking an offensive lineman. I think it's going to be Jermaine Johnson, though, as we've seen a lot of offensive linemen already go so far in the draft. So we got, let's see, who am I thinking? Who do I have my mock? I think we got Tyler Linderbaum, I believe. Yeah, Linderbaum, excuse me. Tyler Linderbaum, a center out of Iowa, 95.4 grade, coming from Pro Football Focus. I think we can see him go there, or I think we're going to see Jermaine Johnson. I think we'll see one of those two go to the Baltimore Ravens. Or maybe even at number 13. I mean, the 13th best player, kind of 13th highest rated player, I guess you'd say, and on my notes, I think we might see a guy coming out of Central Michigan, Chippewas, Bernard Raymond, a tackle. Ravens look to run that heavy ground and pound offense, looking for another young offensive lineman to reinforce that O-line. I think we'd see somebody coming in there. So I think we're going to see some reinforce the defensive line, or we're going to see somebody reinforce that offensive line. One of the two here. Another one we could see as well, Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean could be going here in the next handful of drafts choices. Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia, arguably the best player on that Georgia defense. I think we're going to see one of those two guys go here shortly. Jermaine Johnson, Nakobe Dean going in the next 10 picks. The Lions have had the best draft so far, in my opinion. The Lions absolutely killing it in the NFL draft. What kills me, though, is number the number one player best available by Mel Kiper. Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame, still available. Daxton Hill still available, and Jermaine Johnson still available. I think those three got to go sometime soon. Daxton Hill could be another steal in this draft. Free safety, nickel corner out of the University of Michigan. Could be a guy that slides. Wow, a trade. A trade. So the Ravens make the pick at 14. They select Kyle Hamilton, but they also trade Marquise Brown. Wow, that is a shock trade. So the Ravens pick at number 14, but they're saying that Marquise Brown might be in a trade here. Yes, Kyle Hamilton, one of my favorite prospects in this draft, goes to the Ravens. Playing safety, going to reinforce that defense. Mike McDonald as well is an elite player. I mean, Mike McDonald, an elite defensive coordinator, leaving Michigan, getting himself an elite player in Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. So we have Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, the safety. But nonetheless, Ravens making moves. The Ravens trade wide receiver Marquise Brown to the Cardinals. So the Arizona Cardinals get an elite threat. They also get Hollywood Brown, former teammate of Kyler Murray's as well, which is very, very interesting. And we're going to take a quick break before the Houston Texans make their next draft choice. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So a lot of people comparing Kyle Hamilton to Isaiah Simmons and Jalen Ramsey. I think those are two good comparisons. I think Jalen Ramsey is a quality cornerback. Not a quality cornerback, an elite cornerback. And I think Kyle Hamilton can be a guy that plays that nickel corner and also plays a deep safety, sub linebacker as well. Kyle Hamilton is a freak athlete. Average sees some career snaps, left safety 306, right safety 358, single high 273, right slot corner. So he played a lot of slot corner when he wasn't playing safety. And after slot corner, played a lot of linebacker. So not a guy you're going to put out on the outside, but a guy who works a lot in the inside of the defense in a lot of those intermediate zones. So playing that nickel corner, slot corner, nickel linebacker as well, playing some safety. I think as the league looks to go faster on the defensive side of things to keep up with the offensive side, the offensive transition, where it's going to be a lot of speed space, heavy pass sets. So I think Kyle Hamilton's a guy who's going to be taking a lot of snaps in the nickel at a nickel corner, sub linebacker, as well, safety. And I think we have our first. Who is this? Oh no, we're gonna have Kenyon. Kenyon, the guard out of Texas A&M. Okay, for the Texans, getting a guard. That's good to see. Good to see. Let's look at my draft profile on this guy here. So we're gonna see Kenyon Green, the guard, 6'4", 320-ish pounds out of Texas A&M. I think he's gonna be a good run blocker, a heavy pass blocker as well. Gonna be someone that the Texans need to reinforce that offensive line. Texans looking to bolster up the offensive line, protect Davis Mills, and give their guys some time in that backfield. I mean, you got to have a good offensive line if you want to compete in this league, and I think the Texans are seeing that. They're just going to get started right away with the offensive line. So he's going to be playing a lot of left guard, right guard, but primarily left guard for the Texans. Let's take a second here and look at the Texans depth chart. Let's pull that up. The Houston Texans depth chart. Let's share the screen. Let's get looking at this here. Let's see. So Houston Texans, it's not going to be able to pull up. So the Houston Texans currently at left guard, they have Titus Howard, who Titus Howard has been in the league for a little bit. Normally an offensive tackle, was a first-round draft choice in 2019 out of Alabama State. But I think we'll be seeing him kind of on the outskirts here. I think he might be sliding out of the rotation. I think we're going to be having we're going to see Green kind of come in as that starting left guard, if not left guard, right guard. And I think what might happen is when he steps into left guard, we're going to see them kick their current left guard out to left tackle. The Washington Commanders have their pick in. So the Washington Commanders. I wonder who that'd be taking. Washington Commanders. Can see them. They got Carson Wentz quarterback now. They could be looking wide receiver because Terry McLaurin might be on his way out after this season. Although the best available currently is Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. I think that's a very good pick. Or you might see Daxton Hill out of University of Michigan go there. And it would be a good safety. So I think you're going to see either Jermaine Johnson, Daxton Hill, or Trent McDuffie. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to guess Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie has been projected to go to the Washington Commanders in a lot of mocks that I've seen. I think Trent McDuffie out of Washington could end up being the next best player for the Washington Commanders. So pick is in the Washington Commanders. I believe we will see Trent McDuffie be the next draft choice. Trent McDuffie out of Washington, the corner, is a guy who kind of graded out fair. I believe he had a mid-80s grade. I believe he could be a guy who would come in right away and be a fair man corner, a strong zone corner. And I think that might fit the Washington Commanders' needs right now. I think McDuffie is a guy they need. But I would not imagine – I wouldn't put it too far out of the imagination, Jermaine Johnson going to the Washington Commanders to be a guy to pair up with Chase Young. I think that could be a great move to get him over there. I think think that could be the move we see the Washington Commanders go after. Washington Commanders go out and draft Jermaine Johnson. But the big trade we're seeing right now is the Baltimore Ravens and Hollywood Brown parting ways. So the Ravens have traded Marquise Brown, their wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, probably one of the fastest and most electric receivers in the league behind Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They trade him to the Arizona Cardinals, and Lamar Jackson is not happy. Lamar Jackson, not happy at all, which is not surprising. I mean, seeing his favorite threat be traded away. Let me pull this up on the screen share for you guys. So let's see. You guys see what I'm seeing here? I think you guys might be. Pull it up. Screen. Tab. Twitter. Share. So we're going to see Hollywood Brown has been traded to the Arizona Cardinals for pick number 3, pick number 23, and the 100th pick. Who's that? They take Jamon. Okay. So the Arizona Cardinals send Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals. So Arizona gets Hollywood Brown to pair up with Kyler Murray. And then Lamar Jackson, not happy. Lamar Jackson, not happy at all. You can see this here. Lamar Jackson, not too happy at all. And you can see it right here. Lamar Jackson does not seem happy about it. Thank you, Barstool Sports, for getting that. Lamar Jackson with a retweet here. What the expletive, bro. We trade away Hollywood with a lot of broken heart emojis. It's very unfortunate to see. It's just very unfortunate, seeing the guy go away, someone that the quarterback really likes. But it has to happen. I wonder who the Ravens are going to go after at number 23, though. That makes me curious. But the Washington Commanders take Penn State wide receiver Jahan Dotson at number 16 overall. Jahan Dotson is a guy, myself, a Michigan Wolverine fan, was kind of scared of, throughout his career at Penn State. Very explosive, very electric. I think he'd be a guy that pairs very well with Terry McLaurin. They resemble each other quite a bit. And it's going to help out Carson Wentz. Jahan Dotson's a deep threat as well, a guy very comfortable getting the ball short and quick, who can make a lot of good plays for himself. So I think it's going to benefit the Washington Commanders offense, as well as going to help benefit Antonio Gibson, the running back, take some pressure off of his shoulders. And now the Chargers, at number 17, have the draft choice ready. Roger Goodell makes his way to the podium and the pick. They're going to take a guard out of Boston College. Zion, last name, I'm not sure right now. I'll let you know who it is, but they're going to take the guard out of Boston College. He's a solid guard. I think that's going to be a guy that helps bolster that run game for the Chargers. The Chargers are a very good team. They were game away from making the playoffs last year. If you guys remember that, Raiders versus Chargers, the game where they tied. They both would have made the playoffs, but Chargers head coach Brandon Staley just got a little too aggressive near the end, and his run defense, didn't bail him out. So they're going to get a guard, Zion Johnson, out of Boston College, 6'2", 312 pounds. Going to be a good guard. Boston College develops offensive linemen well. He played a bit of left tackle in his days, as well played a bit of guard. A lot of left guard primarily as his main position, his main featured position. This could be a guy, well-controlled, experienced guy, played in the ACC, went against a lot of competition. I think he's going to be a guy that fares out pretty well in the NFL. He's definitely going to be a guy that gets through his first NFL contract, but I'm not sure if he signs a second one. He probably will sign a second one, but he won't be like a stud or a star signing at that second draft choice, that second draft contract. But I do believe he will be a solid player through that first 4 or 5 seasons. Then maybe get another 6 to 7 year kind of player, get those extra 2 seasons after that first initial contract. As we now see the Tennessee Titans on the clock. And we're going to have a quick 10-second break. All right. Tennessee Titans pick is in. Number 18 overall is now in. Let's see. I wonder who they're going to be taking. You know, still no quarterbacks. Still no quarterbacks taken. Oh my gosh, a blockbuster trade. A.J. Brown is heading to Philadelphia. Wow, the NFL staying busy tonight, man. The NFL is staying busy. Wow, that is a wild trade here. Let's pull this up for you all. Let me share this so you guys can see it and I can break it down. One second for a technical issue. Awesome. So we got the screen share going here. Cool. So as you guys see, we have the Philadelphia Eagles have traded pick number 18 and pick number 101 to the Tennessee Titans for wide receiver A.J. Brown. That is a big-time trade. Jalen Hurts has to be feeling absolutely ecstatic here, getting himself another big-time wide receiver as well, getting himself a weapon, another massive, massive weapon. And the Tennessee Titans giving up A.J. Brown, and they don't have Julio as well. A.J. Brown gets an extension as well, 4 years, $100 million with the Philadelphia Eagles is what has been rumored. Yep, 4-year extension, $100 million, $57 million guaranteed. So not only is he moving on to get kind of the big payday he's needed, but he's also going out and getting himself something great with the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow, that's a trade that no one kind of saw coming there. So Tennessee Titans trade away A.J. Brown for the 18th overall pick. There has to be somebody that they love here at number 18. What makes this interesting is in Tennessee, you're seeing a lot of A.J. Brown jerseys there. You know, it's you guys rocking that number 11. That's A.J. Brown's number there. You see Coach Mike Vrabel on the phone, probably just got off the phone with whoever they just selected. You know, a lot of intense faces in that Tennessee Titan war room. Yeah, so what the thinking here is the Tennessee Titans trading away A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown is going to be a free agent next year. Well, not next year, but this coming off season. But obviously, we see him sign that extension with the Philadelphia Eagles, so no longer going to be a free agent. 4-year, $100 million deal, $57 million guaranteed. So maybe the Titans didn't have the ability, and they didn't feel that they wanted to pay him that money. So I think that's why they traded him here to get a young guy who's going to be on a cheaper contract for the next 4 or 5 years. So I think that's what we see happen here with the Tennessee Titans making this draft day mid-round trade, and as well with their selection here at number 18. Could go wide receiver. They need a playmaker. They need playmakers, especially after trading away arguably their second best player. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on here. They take a wide receiver out of Arkansas, I believe. Yes, they do. They take the wide receiver out of Arkansas. Traylon Burks is going to be the selection here. Traylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas. Pro comps, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown. So Titans are thinking this guy reminded them a lot of A.J. Brown. So, hey, might as well trade away our older A.J. Brown for someone a little bit cheaper and a little bit younger. So I think that could be very interesting to see A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel comps. If they hit here, this could be a big-time pick because they save themselves some money. They get this guy for the next handful of years as well. They get somebody that's a little bit healthier. No, not saying that A.J. Brown's unhealthy, but A.J. Brown's taken a lot of hits throughout his career, so you're going to get somebody very electric here at that number 18 overall selection. Now we're going to have the New Orleans Saints at the 19th pick here. 3 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock. But the reason why a lot of people love Burks is his toughness over the middle. Very strong, very athletic, bigger fella to an extent. Not a huge receiver, but he's a thicker receiver. So he's able to take those hits across the middle and as well take a lot of contact, which is why I guess that Deebo Samuel kind of comp to an extent. Now the Titans got him. That's a great move. I was very curious why the Titans would trade him away. Trade away A.J. Brown. But that makes perfect sense. They draft Traylon Burks. I think that's a terrific move. Early grade, A+ for the Titans. A+ for the Titans. That is a great move. You save yourself a lot of money. You get, maybe they wouldn't be able to re-sign A.J. Brown this offseason or come to an extension agreement. So they get rid of him, and they get a younger version of a guy who's been very well comped to him. And he's going to be a young player, an elite player for the next 3-4 years. So that's awesome to see. It's awesome to see. It's a great move. I think it's going to be a terrific move by the Tennessee front office. I'm very happy to see that move. As we now get to pick number 19. No quarterbacks. So you can see number 20, Pittsburgh has been rumored to be taking a guy like Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, or even Kenny Pickett. So they're still there. 6 wide receivers have been selected so far tonight, 8, 10, 11, 12, 16, 18. So a lot of heavy mid-round receiver selections there, from 8 to 18. And now we're getting to number 19. We'll see New Orleans Saints come up to the podium. The pick is now in just under 2 minutes. So the Saints have had a solid draft. People say they kind of reached a bit on some of their previous picks, but I don't consider it a reach when you get the guy that you want, the guy that you like. So I'm very happy with this pick here by the New Orleans Saints in their previous selections, and I wonder who they're going to take at number 19. At number 19, the Saints could be looking. I'm trying to think, who could they be going after at number 19? They could be looking deep at the side ball, trying to find a DB. Excuse me, man. But they were looking around. They're trying to figure something out. They waited quite a bit on that pick as well. They worked it down to the last minute and a half. They've been taking their picks very low compared to the other teams we've seen tonight. So, feeling out the pick to the last minute. Whether that's looking for trades, discussions in their war room, talking about, do we want this guy? Do we want this guy? Why do we want so-and-so? And things like that. So having some deep conversations you have to imagine about what to do with the draft choice, especially if you're trading up. Some sources were saying that the Saints were looking to deal this choice up until the last minute. They were feeling out phone calls, looking for some phone calls, looking for some trade partners, but nothing was hitting. They didn't really like what they were getting, so they decided that they needed to take the choice themselves. And they're going to be coming up to the podium here in a second. Roger Goodell is going to be coming up in one moment. But wow, just a wild night so far. Lots of veteran wide receivers on the move, lots of young receivers on the move as well. We saw, that graphic fly by us a few minutes ago. 8 wide receivers have been drafted so far through pick number 19. And we've also seen a handful of wide receivers, some vets, be traded away as we enter the 2-hour and 20-minute mark. The New Orleans Saints pick is in. Roger Goodell now at the podium. They take an offensive tackle. I think that's Trent. Is that Trent? Or is that Trevor? Trevin. Let's see. I think they're going to be taking the guy out of, I think it's North Dakota and Northern Iowa. They take Trevor Penning, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. Yep, Trevor Penning, the 6'7", 320-pound tackle. That is a great move by the Saints, protecting Jameis Winston, trying to keep him alive as he comes off an injury. Offensive line picks around this mark always tend to kind of pan out for the most part. Offensive line is one of those positions that always hit in the draft. They always sign that second contract about 70-80% of the time. So this is a great pick by the Saints. Getting a guy to help shore up the offensive line, protect Jameis Winston's blind side, and allow him to get the ball to these wide receivers that they've drafted. And I think it's going to be a great move as well because you have Alvin Kamara, who's a heavy receiving back, and it's going to allow time, to get through the reads and hit Alvin Kamara on the check down if needed, or if Alvin Kamara is your first option on a play. I think it's a great move by the New Orleans Saints. And at number 20, we're now going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this could be a spot where we see the first quarterback be taken. I think we could see Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, or Desmond Ridder be quarterback going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis are the two front runners for this draft pick right here. Mainly stating the fact that Malik Willis is a black quarterback and Mike Tomlin's a black head coach. They have that connect. They have the feeling where Mike Tomlin has talked very highly about him. I think it's going to be very interesting to see that. Malik Willis is a guy who would fit in with Pittsburgh. He's a bigger, stronger, mobile quarterback, and I believe that could work out very well. And you have Kenny Pickett out of Pitt, who is just a guy who's familiar with the conditions from Pittsburgh. He's a hometown kid kind of feeling, where you can't blame him for taking either way. But Malik Willis has been a guy that resembles Mitch Trubisky in a way. And I think in Malik Willis's draft, and Malik Willis will start over Mitch Trubisky. And Mike Tomlin has been such a successful quarterback throughout history. Successful coach throughout his league history. I think that's going to make him very successful going forward. And find a way, whoever he takes here, that quarterback will be successful going forward. If it's Malik or Kenny. I think it should be Malik. I think Malik will fit into their offense right away, start right away. But either pick here would be very terrific for the franchise. So the pick is in at number 20. I think you got best available with Daxton Hill. And then you obviously have the guys like Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, also available at this point. I think the Steelers will take Malik Willis, or I don't know. I think Malik Willis has to be the answer here. I'm not sold on Mitch Trubisky. I'm not sold on Mitch Trubisky one bit. I think Mitch Trubisky is a fine quarterback, but I think he's a placeholder quarterback. I think Malik Willis has the ability to be just as good as Mitch and maybe more. And that's what I think you need to look for here as the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have an elite defense that can protect you and kind of carry you quite a bit. And I think you just need a guy on the offensive side thing to manage the game. And if Malik Willis hits, if he reaches his ceiling and his potential, it could be awesome. He could be a guy that is an all-pro quarterback in this league very easily. I think it's very important that the Steelers take a quarterback here. If they don't take a quarterback here, they need to make sure they walk out of this draft with a quarterback. If they don't take Malik Willis here, you can pretty much sign them up to take Desmond Ridder in the second round or late first round, I think. But I believe you take Malik Willis here. I think we might see our first quarterback off the board at pick number 20 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what I'm looking at here from my sources, I believe, that's going to be Kenny Pickett, I think. Kenny Pickett being the Pittsburgh Steeler. Wow. First quarterback off the board, Kenny Pickett. Would have been my first guess for quarterback off the board to the Steelers. If he was going to be the first quarterback off the board, I would have expected to be to the Carolina Panthers, but not the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Pittsburgh Steelers take their Pittsburgh kid, Kenny Pickett. It's a great choice. Congratulations to Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, you got to worry about those small hands, man. But Kenny Pickett, he's going to be a great player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do think, though, Kenny Pickett will sit behind Mitch Trubisky this season. I think he sits behind him, at least for the first couple of games. Then he'll go in and start playing. I don't think he's going to be a guy who starts right away. But Kenny Pickett, a quality selection. Quality selection by Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, a Pittsburgh Steeler. Wow, I wouldn't have expected that. I wouldn't have expected that. Not what I was thinking as we kind of reached the 2.5 hour mark. I think I would have expected Malik Willis with this draft choice, personally. But the first quarterback off the board is Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. You can't really write up a better story than that, honestly, because Kenny Pickett went to school at Pitt. He's already played his college ball at Heinz Field, which is very, he's already going to have the familiarity with the stadium, which kind of means something, I guess. So Kenny Pickett now the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And sources are telling me at number 21, the New England Patriots are going to be trading back. I'm not sure where they're trading, who they're trading with, what that partner is, but they're definitely trading back as we get to see some great images of Kenny Pickett's family. Very happy, very excited for him being the first quarterback taken, reaching some dreams there, things you think about as a child. It's kind of cool playing for the team that's your hometown team to an extent. Going to school at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and now you're going to be quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the New England Patriots have about 3 minutes, 55 seconds left on the clock, but my sources are telling me they're working on a trade right now, trying to get that finalized. So I'm not sure who's going to be getting into the 21 spot, but it could be someone trying to take quarterback because they're afraid someone's going to jump at quarterback next. More or less, though, I'm looking here at 21, seeing who's coming up at 22, 23, the Green Bay Packers and Baltimore Ravens. I don't think quarterback is going to be what's going here. I think someone's going to be jumping for Jermaine Johnson potentially. Daxton Hill. I'm not sure. Because the Packers are going to look to go wide receiver. The Ravens probably going to go defense or lineman on the offensive side of things. Maybe even a wide receiver. Now that trade away Marquise Brown. Yeah. Oh, this video, can you pick with that fake slide? They've changed the rule because of that. I like him. He's just a smart heads-up ball player. So the rumor's telling me that it's going to be New England Patriots trading number 21 overall to the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, I'd imagine, probably gave up their first rounder. I think they might have gave up 31 and something else for this draft pick. I'll let you know as soon as I find this out. But yeah, the Chiefs are now on the clock. So Chiefs trade 29, 94, 121 for Patriots 21. So New England trades back 9 spots, gets an extra 2 picks. That's the most Bill Belichick thing ever. Bill Belichick loves his late round draft picks. Wow, that's a quick turnaround for the Chiefs as well. They were on the clock for 10 seconds. So they know who they want. So whoever's available, they're very excited about, very happy to get. As the pick is now in. So pick in Kansas City Chiefs. They have to be thinking wide receiver potentially. Or they're going to be looking to go defense. I wouldn't be shocked if they took Daxton Hill after losing Tyrann Mathieu this offseason. Granted, they re-signed Justin Reed, but you never have too many players on defense, too many good corners and safeties and defensive backs in general. But I would not be shocked if they took Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson has been a guy that a few weeks ago was a top 10 pick. Now he's dropped out of the top 20. Very well could be going here, number 21, to the Kansas City Chiefs. You have Trent McDuffie as well, could be another secondary piece. So I think we are going to see Jermaine Johnson, Trent McDuffie, or Daxton Hill be taken by the Kansas City Chiefs here. Would not be shocked if any of those 3 picks. If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs general manager right now, I'm trying to go with the defensive back because my secondary got torched, and that's the reason why my team wasn't in the Super Bowl this year. His team wasn't in the Super Bowl because of their secondary. The Bengals lit them up twice, and multiple other NFL teams lit them up many times for their back end, looking very, very weak at times. So if they can get a guy like Daxton Hill, they can get a guy like Trent McDuffie, I think that could bolster up that secondary quite a bit to help them make that run, especially in what we see as a loaded AFC West with lots of elite wide receiver talent and lots and lots and lots and lots of elite offensive talent all over the ball, whether it's the quarterback position, wide receiver position, or tight end positions. But what's going on? It's good. So I got some hot takes, not hot takes, but happy takes from friends of mine, some Saints fans, because that's what I think. I think the Saints and Lions have had some of the best drafts so far tonight. So from one of my Saints faithful, we got exactly what we needed. We lost a tackle and got one. We finally got a receiver to help Jameis and Michael Thomas. And we got a guy that can help Mr. Slants himself, that Ohio State connection with Michael Thomas. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see for the Saints' future. Jameis Winston, a great quarterback who finally can see after getting LASIK and then getting hurt last year. So I think Jameis Winston could be a guy that you can kind of be, if you're looking for a dark horse MVP bet, I think looking at the odds, he could be a guy that can win MVP. And we're going to see Trent McDuffie, the corner out of Washington, go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's a terrific pick by the Kansas City Chiefs. You're getting yourself a young corner that can help bolster up that secondary, 5'10", 193 pounds. And it's going to be a guy that can help you kind of shore up the back end of your defense, because that's the reason why you weren't in the Super Bowl. The back end of your defense is the only reason why they weren't in the Super Bowl. So I think having that come their way, getting Trick McDuffie, having them fall low enough where they can make a trade, I think they gave up just enough. I think it's a fair trade, especially if you can solve a piece right away. The Chiefs are a team that can give up some draft picks in those late rounds because they don't need to look to build their team more or less. They just need to look for a few guys to fill in, these missing holes, these gaps that they have. So I'm all about it. I think Trick McDuffie is a terrific pick by the Kansas City Chiefs at number 21 overall. And now we're going to see the Green Bay Packers at number 22 come in. About 5 minutes left. No Devontae Adams anymore. They're trying to get Darren Waller, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially after seeing Darren Waller come on the stage tonight with his buddy and quarterback Derek Carr. So I think we're going to see the Packers go with an offensive player, most likely a wide receiver if I had to guess, but I'm not sure who, It'd be weird. It'd be weird for the Packers to take a wide receiver or a skill position because that's not their thing. They never take offensive players in the first round. The last time they took an offensive player in the first round, it was Jordan Love. So could the Packers be drafting Malik Willis at number 22? Could they be drafting Malik Willis at number 22? No, I'm kidding. It's not happening. But, that's a good joke to have. It's a good joke to have. But I think the Packers go with an offensive piece, and I think they get themselves a wide receiver. Not sure who they'll go here. I'm not sure who they take here, but they definitely need to get an offensive piece for Aaron Rodgers. More or less a weapon, not an alignment, I think. Let's look at my draft profile notes. I think we can see, a corner maybe, but I think we can see Christian Watson at number 22. Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. Be a good wide receiver that goes to the Packers here. A guy who's used to playing, you could say used to playing the cold, playing the FCS and that northern conference out there in North Dakota, but a lot of arenas out there, a lot of domes. But regardless, I think Watson could be a great selection at wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Watson, if he is selected, Watson, in some of my notes here, I'll read them off for you guys. 6'4", 208 pounds. So he's in the 97th percentile of wide receiver height, which is awesome. Going to have a big, strong receiver out there. And runs a 4.36 40-yard dash. And that's terrific speed, especially for a guy who's 6'4". So that could be a guy, if him and Aaron Rodgers could get on the same page, could be very deadly, very, very exciting, 1-2 combo out there. It'll be very interesting to see. Now the Bills have traded up to pick number 23 the Baltimore Ravens. So a lot of trades going on here in the back half of this draft as we await the Green Bay Packers pick. It turns out some of my sources are saying that the Packers aren't going wide receiver here. The Packers went defense. I'm not 100% sure who they got, but what it sounds like is they went defense and they got a linebacker. Maybe Nakobe Dean. Could be Nakobe Dean. If they got Nakobe Dean, that'll fit the Packers kind of MO. Who they get? They got Quay, inside linebacker. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So they got Quay Walker, linebacker from Georgia. 6'3", 241 pounds. All right, that's a decent pick. It's not anything crazy that the Packers didn't draft a receiver. But looks like this guy's going to be a sure tackler in the middle. Good run-stopping linebacker. And you can just expect the Aaron Rodgers memes of them drafting another defensive player. It's going to be, I guarantee you before I even open it up, and I'll look for you guys, it's going to be that meme of Aaron Rodgers laying on the ground after he got his brains rattled. Let's see if we can find him. I guarantee you that's what's going to be. Let's pull it up. Oh, even better. It's gonna be. It's a picture. I'll pull it up real quick. It's gonna be him and Jose Mourinho being compared. It's right there. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers right now. That's some quality content right there. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers not gonna be happy with that draft choice. You know, Aaron Rodgers wants himself some receivers and some offensive weapons, but instead he gets himself an inside linebacker at number 22 with Quay Walker. 0 touchdowns allowed in his 548 snaps. So a great player there for the Green Bay Packers. And of course, Green Bay Packers sticking with their MO, not drafting skill position players in the NFL draft. And we'll be back with a quick break when we get back with the Buffalo Bills on the clock with 4 minutes, 55 seconds left. All right, and we are back. We still got 3 minutes left here on the clock with the Buffalo Bills at pick number 23. But the Buffalo Bills traded up, so Buffalo Bills kind of have an idea of what they're looking for here. I'm not sure what they will go after. I mean, Jermaine Johnson's still out there. That's my biggest question mark shock moment of tonight's draft is that Jermaine Johnson is still available at pick number 23. Jermaine Johnson is an elite edge rusher who can dictate a game, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Still available at number 23. Would be one of those guys that was in that loaded Georgia defensive room, but ended up transferring to Florida State so he can be the featured star there, and he was. I mean, he dictated and dominated every single ball game he was a part of. So, I mean, pairing him up with interesting to see. I think that could be a very great move, something very interesting to see how that pans out. I'm not too sure who they go after here at pick number 23. But the pick is in. The pick is in. I think it could very well be Jermaine Johnson, but I'm not sure. A pairing of Jermaine Johnson and Von Miller would be scary for any offensive line. But I'm not sure who they go after here. It's gonna be a great look here, I think, for the Bills, because their front office has done a terrific job of building this team, and they want to continue to build this team through the draft. They can get a stud on defense like Jermaine Johnson. That'd be terrific. Maybe even Daxton Hill. I don't think they go after Daxton Hill here because they already have two safety that are elite already. But with the Jordan Poirier and Micah Hyde, I think they go maybe Jermaine Johnson at number 23. But first round wide receivers selected this year have been number 8 Drake London, 10 Garrett Wilson, 11 Chris Olave, the OSU team going back to back. Number 12 Jameis Williams, number 16 Jahan Dotson, and Traylon Burks at number 18. We got 3 Big Ten wide receivers going there. So the Bills-Ravens trade. The Ravens got the 25th pick by trading Marquise Brown. And now the Bills So the Ravens, so Bills trade up for 23. They gave up 25 and something else. Okay. So we're just a little swap. Baltimore probably doesn't feel anything special about one of these guys that they're looking at taking here. And the Bills are feeling extra aggressive about whoever they want. They don't want to risk Dallas taking them. So I could very well see this being a Jermaine Johnson type at number 23. Because I feel like Jerry Jones and the Cowboys would look to take maybe Jermaine Johnson because they love taking defensive guys in the first round. See Roger Goodell at the podium. Let's listen in. The Buffalo Bills take a cornerback out of Florida. Okay. Not where my head was at. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. But Kaiir Elam, defensive back out of Florida, they're going to pair that guy up with Tre'Davious White. I think that's a good look. I think it's going to be a good pick. But not what I was expecting them to do here, trading up to 23. I think they could have gotten him at 25. Very well, I think they could have gotten him at 25. I don't get the trade up there, but I'm all about it if you're going to be able to get the guy that you want. So I support it. But I think they could have just sat back and got him. But it's going to be a great press man corner for the Buffalo Bills. Pair up with Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White getting a little bit older. So you're going to need to have some help in the secondary with him. Maybe a guy that sits underneath him for a year or two, learns from him, and then year 3 is just that stud lockdown corner that they need. Very well man-to-man playing corner, especially with that Buffalo Bills system. I think he's going to fit right into their scheme and be an effective piece for them. But now Dallas 24, very well could take Jermaine Johnson. Very well could take Jermaine Johnson, pair him up with Micah Parsons, and man, that would be scary. Maybe they take David Ajabo, Daxton Hill as well. They need some secondary help. The free safety position last year was very weak for the Cowboys. So would not be shocked to see Daxton Hill go here to the Cowboys at 24. I think that's a very realistic pick because their free safety position was not that strong last year. They got Trayvon Diggs at corner, and they're going to need some help there. They're going to need somebody else to kind of help bolster that secondary. And I think Daxton Hill could be a guy that does that. Daxton Hill could be the choice here for the Dallas Cowboys at pick number 24. So we got number 25, Baltimore, 26, Tennessee. Tennessee and Baltimore. Who could they take? You still got no one's going to go quarterback one of those three picks unless they trade away and a quarterback rises. You could see Louis signed safety as well here with the Cowboys. Maybe Dax Hill, Louis signed. As well, you might be looking for a guy like Jalen Petrie. Jalen Petrie could go. I think that could be a very fair selection. Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. He's a guy kind of been floating around a lot of mock drafts, 24 to 36 range. But Mel's best available, we have Jermaine Johnson, the second defensive end out of Florida State. Daxton Hill, safety, kind of that Viper, nickel corner, middle linebacker, sub linebacker, safety out of Michigan. Malik Willis at 3. Malik Willis isn't going to any of these three teams at 24, 25, or 26. You have Arnold Ebiketie, the defensive end out of Penn State. That could be a fair pick. Tyler Lindenbaum. I think you might see Lindenbaum go 25 to the Ravens. I think we could see Jermaine Johnson or Daxton Hill go 24. And I think at 26, we see the latter of if Daxton goes, we think we see Jermaine in 26. If Jermaine goes now, I think we see somebody else go Tennessee. I think we see the other edge rusher there. But what's been wild, another crazy stat. You can get all these stats from analytics and stuff. Jerry Jones looking in there smiling awfully big with Mike McCarthy. I think they know who they want, but they're just going to sit there and field some extra phone calls. But really, Jermaine Johnson had a 1% chance of being available at number 24 tonight. And that could be the biggest steal of the draft. He's the biggest not the biggest bust, but the biggest slide of the NFL draft. The biggest slide out of everybody in this draft. He should have been taken very early on in this draft. I think. I think my mocks had him. He's a top 10 prospect. I think, in personal opinion. Not only top 10 prospect, top 10 storyline too. Coming out of Last Chance U, Indy, coming into Georgia, then Florida State. If I'm him, I'm sweating a little bit to an extent because every time someone's name gets called ahead of you, that's millions and thousands of dollars you're missing out on. But wherever he lands, he's gonna make a lot of people regret not drafting him early on. Though I will say that as we were reaching the 2 hour and 50-minute mark here, as the Dallas Cowboys pick is in. Dallas Cowboys fans, I love them, man. America's team. They're always excited. They're always excited and amped up about everything, just to be disappointed in the playoffs again. It's like a yearly thing, but hey, I respect the hustle, I respect the grind because it takes a lot to get excited and worked up every year just to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs or not even make the playoffs. And the always loaded with talent of the NFC East. They're just the best conference in football, best division in football. So they're the Cowboys excited to get bounced in the first round once again. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys pick is in. I just got off the phone with Jerry Jones himself. Tyler Smith, offensive tackle, have been drafted to the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Smith has been drafted to the Dallas Cowboys. What can I say? I'm just so happy. I'm coming out of Tulsa. I'm just absolutely elated to be taken with the 24th overall pick. I'm flattered. Tyler Smith has been taken with the 24th overall pick. Cannot be happier. Just got off the phone with Jerry. I'm excited to get started with the Dallas Cowboys. I say you know me, offensive tackle, 6'4", 324 pounds, coming out of Tulsa. Super excited to get started with the Dallas Cowboys. But on realness, number 56, out of Tulsa, Tyler Smith, the left tackle, going to Dallas. I think it's going to be a great pick for Jerry Jones and that squad. Tyron Smith getting older, Tyron Smith getting a lot older, getting a lot unhealthier. Picking up knocks and hasn't played a full season in a minute. I think that's going to be a great pick to help protect Dak Prescott back there and also give Zeke Elliott some extra run blocking support. I'm a big fan of Tyler Smith being drafted to the Cowboys. It's a great fit. I think it's a way he can get in, play right away, and as well, the Cowboys always draft offensive linemen well. So Tyler Smith can be a guy that pans out for Tulsa coming out of that American Athletic Conference. I think it's a strong pick for the Dallas Cowboys. America's team should be very happy. They just got their next lockdown left tackle for probably the next 8 to 10 years. Very good pick. Dak Prescott should be happy. Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens on the clock, 25 overall, 5 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. Mike McDonald probably talking here saying, hey guys, let me get a stud defensive player in Jermaine Johnson. Maybe even David Ojabo. I don't think David Ojabo goes this early after that Achilles injury he suffered at his pro day. But if he didn't suffer that injury, I think he goes to 25 here. I think David Ajabo could go to the Ravens later on in this draft if he falls. But I'm not sure who the Ravens take here. The Ravens could be taking Tyler Lindenbaum, I think, the center. No. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I believe that's a solid look. You got as well. They could be taking a guy like Sky Moore out of Western Michigan, a receiver. Wouldn't blame them for taking that draft choice as well, especially if you see them take Marquise Brown. I think they're going to be going wide receiver more likely here. So I would not be shocked if they went after a guy like Sky Moore. And I think that would make Sky Moore the 9th first-round receiver. But I'm not sure who the Baltimore Ravens will take here at 25. I think they have to be looking at a wide receiver here. But once again, I don't understand how Jermaine Johnson is falling this far. Somebody's got to take Jermaine Johnson, and he's going to be an absolute stud. Going to be an absolute stud wherever he goes. Let's check in. I want to see what's going on with Jermaine Johnson. I mean, why is he falling so far? Yeah, I say a bunch of teams are always asking for Jermaine Johnson. A bunch of fans say like, "Hey, we need to trade up. We need to trade up. We need to trade up." But I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going on. I think we could see a potential trade up by a team. I think the Broncos could be a team that takes Jermaine Johnson if they trade up. But the Ravens as well. I mean, they need edge rushers. Everybody needs edge rushers these days. And I can see Jermaine Johnson going to any of the next 3 teams that picks: the Baltimore Ravens, Tennessee Titans, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Would not be shocked, though, if Baltimore or Tennessee took wide receiver here. I think Tennessee is less likely to take wide receiver. I think Tennessee would end up taking somebody probably on the defensive side of the ball, knowing Mike Vrabel. Wouldn't be shocked if a guy like Nakobe Dean goes anytime soon as well. I mean, that entire Georgia defense has been selected for the most part. I would see some terrific artwork here. Let's see. Let's say so. 2 minutes, 25 seconds left for the Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens got the 25th pick and a 4th-round pick, and they gave up their 23rd pick for that. So they traded back. It could be a trade back because they don't like what they're seeing, they don't know what they want, or anything like that. Or maybe they're just not feeling too certain about anybody. Oftentimes, when teams trade back in the NFL draft, it's because they don't know who they like. They don't want some people that are available, or someone they like is taken ahead of them. Or they just get a deal that's too good to pass up on. And I think that's what we saw here. The Ravens kind of looking to play the long game. Especially seeing them trade Marquise Brown away already as well. It's going to be interesting to see who they take. I think we have to have Jermaine Johnson go here at number 25. I think that has to be the move. I don't know where else he could go. I mean, like, I know people are taking him, but it makes sense. I don't know who else the Ravens take. The Ravens have to take Jermaine Johnson here. Yeah, it has to be Jermaine Johnson here at 25. I don't know who else they would take. As the pick is in. I think Jermaine Johnson has to be the pick here. I'm not sure who else they would take. As Roger Goodell makes his way to the podium, let's tune in. All right, well, so the Baltimore Ravens went my second pick, who I was thinking here. They're going to take at number 25, they're going to take the offensive lineman Tyler Lindenbaum, the center out of Iowa. So this is what I was kind of feeling out earlier before I realized Jermaine Johnson would slide this far. Tyler Lindenbaum is going to be a guy that helps that run blocking style of offense that they have. Yeah, so I think they're going to be taking that. So that's crazy to see that happening. Yo, Charles Wayne, if you're still here, what you talking about Dallas? What you talking about Dallas? What you thinking? We can jump back to it. What are we thinking? But we see Tyler Lindenbaum go number 25 to the Baltimore Ravens. It's a big time pick there. It's going to be a guy that bolsters up that run offense a lot. He's a very athletic center who can get out there, get out there and just move around and be flexible. But regardless, I think that was a great pick. And now we're going to see a trade. So the New York Jets trade to number 26. And the New York Jets have to be taking Jermaine Johnson here. They have to be with the deal with the Buffalo Bills. So the New York Jets trade with the Buffalo Bills. They have to take Jermaine Johnson here. I don't know why else they'd be trading up for number 26. And everybody kind of talked about how they were looking at Kayvon Thibodeau a bit too. So the New York Jets have to be finding that final piece of their defense in this draft. And they have to be taking it. Excuse me, the Titans, pardon me. So the Titans trade with the New York Jets. So the Titans give up the Titans give up number 26 and 101 for 35, 69, 163. So the Jets make a big move here to get the number 26 pick. 5 minutes. It was a bad pick. We think bad pick for who? Bad pick for the Ravens? Let me know. What were we thinking? Bad pick for the Ravens? What was the bad pick? Or was it a bad pick for Dallas? But, I mean, I think the New York Jets have to be taking Jermaine Johnson here. Jermaine Johnson has to be the one. I mean, I understand how there's like a less than 1% chance he made it the 23rd, 24th pick. And now the Jets made a move. The Jets have to be taking him. So the Jets trade up to number 26. Edge rusher Jermaine Johnson finally goes, is what my sources are telling me right now. The Jets pick has not been turned in yet, but there has to be taken. They have to be taking him here. But Lindenbaum, I like Lindenbaum a lot for the Ravens. Lindenbaum is going to be a great center. He's one of those guys coming out of Iowa. Iowa's offensive lineman U for the most part. They always develop guys that are solid in the NFL. So that's why I think Lindenbaum is going to be a great player. Lindenbaum, strong, athletic center that can get out there and pull, get out there and chop block a few guys. I think it's going to be a good move. New York Jets made that trade. So New York Jets, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then Green Bay Packers. So the Jets look ecstatic, and I think that's because they got their man in Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson has to be the one they get here at number 26. That's the steal of the draft. That's my take now. I mean, I've been talking Kyle Hamilton, but my God, you're to get Jermaine Johnson to slide to number 26 and take him. Not only did you get a great player, but you have to save yourself a bunch of money doing it too. Jermaine Johnson, what a player at number 26 if they get him. At 27, Tampa Bay, I'm not sure who they're going to take. I was thinking maybe Tampa Bay takes Jordan Davis, but Jordan Davis is well off the board now. They could be looking at a guy like Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's a player that I like a lot in this draft as well. We could see them kind of maybe take a risk, take a flyer on somebody as well, such as a defensive back or edge rusher. Maybe they'll go out and get themselves a guy that's like a Boye Mafe or they might take Boye Maffey out of Minnesota, or they might go out and try and get themselves a safety, some extra defensive help. But David Ojabo would be a pick. I don't think it happens at 20. I don't think it happens at 27. I don't think David Ojabo goes in the first round. But if David Ojabo did go in the first round, I think it's a very valid pick. I think it might be, people would say it's a reach because you could probably grab him later on in the draft, but I think you can get him early. But the Jets, I believe Roger Goodell is walking himself up to the podium right now. Yes, he is. So Jermaine Johnson has to be the guy here, I think. Wouldn't be shocked if Tampa Bay took Daxton Hill at number 27. Let's listen in. Man, finally it happens. Jermaine Johnson goes to New York Jets. That's going to be the biggest deal of this draft. Jermaine Johnson's going to have an even bigger chip on his shoulder. This is a guy who's had a chip on his shoulder more or less his entire career, seeing, going from Independence, Kansas at JUCO with Coach Brown to Georgia, playing all three of these guys. He's watched his former teammates be drafted all in front of him. And now Florida State, where he was the main featured man, now he's finally going to get his chance. So that's a great pick. But some sources are saying, though, now, so the Bucs trade number 27 to the Jaguars for 33, 106, and 180. So that's going to be a third. That's going to be, so they're going to get, the Buccaneers get a second rounder, early fourth or late third, and then like a fifth, sixth, I believe. Okay. That's a fair trade. It's a fair trade. I think Jacksonville made a good trade there. I don't know who Jacksonville's going to grab here, though. Jacksonville could be getting Daxton Hill, maybe, to help bolster that secondary. But I'm not 1,000% sure who they go after here. They got Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall, if we remember that. But they could be getting somebody else to help bolster up that defense, I think. I'm not sure who they go after here. It's a team that has coordinators, not coordinator, but GM that loves taking those guys with freak athleticism. And I think Daxton Hill is a very athletic player that might fit that mold. But as well, they could go out. The Jaguars are very unpredictable. The Jaguars could go out and take a reach and take a flyer on somebody. They could go out there and take a flyer on some of these guys that we see late, like a Jalen Petrie in the secondary out of Baylor. Or they might even be going after a guy. Jalen Petrie was graded in 88.6. I mean, a very high grade. We've seen guys like Kyer Elam go before him, and Kyer Elam out of Florida, playing the exact same position, was graded out at 61.8 by Pro Football Focus. And we also could see maybe a guy like Nick Bonito or Jaquan Brisker, too. Yeah, a lot of flexibility here with this pick. They can go guards. They can take a guard. They can go out there and take a linebacker. They can go out there and take a safety. I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see guard, linebacker, safety, DB. So no safety or DB. It's going to be somebody like that. If they go DB, I think we see Daxton Hill or Jalen Petrie. They could go guard. If they go guard, I think they go after a guy, go after a guy that's just pure and raw. I think that's what they're going to end up doing, because they're going to want guys that are big, strong guys. That's kind of been their MO. So I think they might go after a very raw guard if they don't go defensive side, the defensive back. As we enter hour 3. So best available is going to be Daxton Hill, in my opinion. Daxton Hill, defensive back, safety out of Michigan. You got Malik Willis at number 27. I mean, Malik Willis still available here at number 27. You got the Penn State Arnold. Yeah, Penn State Arnold. Arnold Eba. So I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see Arnold, or we will see Daxton Hill. I think that's what we're going to be looking at here. I think we're seeing one of those guys. Daxton Hill or Arnold out of Penn State as the pick is in. I'm going to say appreciate you guys all here sticking around, hanging out with all of us here 3 hours in, watching the NFL draft live. because it's been a great time. I've enjoyed the night so far. Hope you have too. Hope your team's made some great decisions. I think this has been a pretty good draft so far. I mean, no teams have kind of reached or had a bust pick, lots of trades, lots of activity as well. I think it's going very well. There hasn't been that moment where it's like, oh my God, that team took who? And I don't think we've had that moment yet, which is very nice to see. I mean, like to see some storylines. The storylines have been pretty positive going around trades, teams looking to be more aggressive and make moves, which I like. It's going to make the offseason very interesting. It's going to make the regular season very interesting. A lot of teams trying to be good and a lot of teams trying to be elite, which is very nice to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing who the Jaguars are going after as they try and complete this rebuild or get this rebuild up and off the ground after Urban Meyer just ran the rebuild into the ground and buried the rebuild. So we got 27 Jacksonville, 28 Green Bay, 29 New England, and I believe 30 is going to be 31's Bengals, 32 I'm not sure. 32 was in a trade from the Lions to somebody, if I recall. But yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars got to be looking to go defensive back here, I'm thinking. Defensive back, Daxton Hill. Has to be their man, I think. All right, now we're back. The NFL draft in Las Vegas, looking beautiful. Looking absolutely beautiful. I think we have to see Dax Hill to the Jaguars here. So we got Daxton Hill or Arnold Ebikite, Devin Lloyd, or Kobe Dean. So I'm thinking it's going to be, I think we'll see New England go after Kobe Dean. I think we'll see the Green Bay Packers go after Devin Lloyd. And I think we see Jacksonville go after Arnold Ebikiti or Daxton Hill at 27. We're looking at Daxton Hill's green room right now. Daxton Hill, Michigan man, coming off that team with Aiden Hutchinson, who brought Michigan back to life. And he's got all those hats right there in front of him. Looking classy as ever. I think Daxton Hill could be a big-time player at the next level. So we're thinking it's going to be the Utah linebacker, Devin Ebikiti. Let's see what we got. Let's listen in. So what we're hearing is, and what I'm hearing as well from my sources. So I think we're going to see a second round talent with the Jaguars. We might be seeing a guy like Kobe Dean sneak in here. Might be seeing a guy like Daxton Hill or one of these guys right here. The Jacksonville Jaguars, we're hoping to land one of these fellas in the second round. So they're going to take Devin Lloyd out of Utah. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, Devin Lloyd on my rankings, a lot of Pro Football Focus rankings as well. Devin Lloyd is going to be coming in as a mid to early second rounder. So the second rounder here, second round talent, is now going to be drafted at pick number 27 by the Jacksonville Jaguars, which was a pretty aggressive move, but it makes sense. So the Jacksonville Jaguars make this move to draft him early as an inside linebacker so they have that fifth-year option. So when a rookie or any player coming out of college is drafted in the first round, they get a 4-year contract, and then they also get a guaranteed fifth year where the team can choose to take it if they want. That's going to be pretty much a discounted rate, team-friendly rate, which is very nice. So the team will be able to keep him for 5 years if they want to, if he pans out. So that's what the Jaguars are looking at. They know Devin Lloyd probably won't be a stud this year, but come and play pretty well this year and hopefully explode onto the scene in the coming years, which is very nice. That pro comp is going to get his Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is a very speedy and rangy middle linebacker, outside linebacker type, very involved with the defense, very flexible as an edge rusher and pass rusher, as well as some pass coverage as well. So I think that's what they're looking for here, a guy that they can kind of morph to their needs over the next few seasons as we see the Green Bay Packers at pick number 28. And they made a very quick pick there as well. The pick is in very early. That was a quick turnaround. So the Packers must have had their eyes set on someone for quite some time, which is very interesting to see. The Packers, will they actually draft an offensive skill position player not named Jordan Love since Aaron Rodgers? I mean, it's going to be wild to see what they do here. Probably going to go defense. I mean, there's not a lot of offensive players out here, really. So you have to imagine they go after – how about that? Maybe you're getting a safety out of Michigan. The last time they had a Michigan safety was Charles Woodson. How about that for a storyline? They could be bringing Daxton Hill to Lambeau Field. That could be a good storyline. They could be also seeing Nakobe Dean, a very smart, athletic, and rangy middle linebacker. I think both those picks would be terrific. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see here. The pick is in. Let's check around, see if there's any rumors out there. What's going on here with the Packers? As Aaron Rodgers is trying to find himself a weapon. Could be a weapon on day 2. We could also, you never can rule out with the Green Bay Packers drafting Malik Willis here at 28. We have to remember the Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers love to draft quarterbacks. So the Packers' strategy could be they draft Malik Willis and make Aaron Rodgers mad enough where Aaron Rodgers has an elite season. It's very, very, very possible. Very possible. But no, it's gonna be a defensive player here. It's gonna be Daxton Hill, I have to imagine. Has to be Daxton Hill. Has to be. I don't know who else they'd be looking for here at 28. It has to be Daxton Hill or Nakobe Dean. That's my 2 that I'm thinking that's going to be here at 28. Nakobe Dean, Daxton Hill. As I'm not. I know, we're sitting here waiting, looking at all the cheeseheads in Vegas, but they're not going to be drafting an offense. There's no one worth drafting an offense right here unless they're looking just to simply get somebody to have them on a 5th year, to have that 5th year deal. But it's going to have to be a Nakobe Dean, Daxton Hill type. The Packers war room, they look pretty – some people looking happy. Some people not looking so happy. But we're going to be seeing Daxton Hill or Nakobe Dean go here at number 28. I think we see – I say Devin Lloyd from Utah to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a good pick. And I really enjoy this first round so far. I really enjoyed draft day 1 because we're seeing a lot of GMs being very aggressive, which I really enjoy. I enjoy the fact that GMs are looking to go out and find players, get the wins, and things like that. It's good to see. It's unlike a lot of some of these other leagues where you see teams be okay with losing and tanking. No one in the NFL wants to lose, which is terrific. And, there's 3 things you can live by with the Green Bay Packers: death, taxes, and the Packers not drafting skilled players in the first round. And I think we're going to see a very similar theme here. I think we will see a defensive player named Daxton Hill or Nakobe Dean or the Penn State edge rusher whose name is way too hard to pronounce being drafted here. Ekabiti, I believe, will be drafted here, number 28. It's been a terrific draft night, day 1 already. I just want to continue to say thank you for all you guys showing up, listening along. Whether you're listening live, listening to it back on another day after draft day one, I want to say thank you for listening in on this. The Walter Payton Man of the Year, Andrew Whitworth, makes his way to the stage. Roger Goodell reaches the podium. Best available is Daxton Hill. And the Green Bay Packers, with the number 28 overall pick, will select Malik Willis out of Liberty. I'm kidding. They're not doing that. Just want to see if I can panic some people. So Packers, they're going to be taking the number 28 overall selection. If Roger Goodell could talk any slower. Oh, he pump faked it. He pump faked it. He acted like he was going to draft it and say who it was going to be and then hand it off to Whitworth. I'd rather Whitworth made the pick, but act like that all the way through. Now Whitworth's going to poke some fun and all that. But I just want to know who's going to the Green Bay Packers. Man, this view in Vegas looks terrific. What a view as we enter the 3 hour and 20-minute mark. Green Bay Packers select. We got hit with another pump fake, man. They took away the graphic to advertise nationwide insurance. Man, I just want to know who the Packers are taking here. I think it's going to be safe to say, though, that the Green Bay Packers are not going to be selecting a wide receiver in the first round. I think that's a very safe bet. Hopefully they don't draft a quarterback in the first round. The streak continues. The Packers have not taken a wide receiver. They're going to take Georgia defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt. Okay. Devontae Wyatt was a guy I had going early second round, probably about 34, 35. And the Packers are going to take him here. The Packers are going to take the defensive tackle, Devontae Wyatt. And the reason why they're going to do it is they're going to take him to bolster up that run defense a lot. And as well, he's kind of a guy who's a sneaky pass rusher coming out of Georgia. But they're going to take him there as a run stopper who hopefully they think he's going to be a guy that hits. He's a very low floor kind of guy, high ceiling, low floor kind of player. So I think they're going to take him there. And you look to use that fifth year. I think that's going to be a big reason why they took him with that fifth-year option here, 28th overall pick. So they'll be able to keep him for a little bit longer, keep him a little bit cheaper because the Packers tend to be a very cheap organization when it comes to like paying their players. They just don't like to fork out lots of big and long extensions. And a lot of that comes back to their ownership style and ownership group having no real true head owner. Where you see a lot of teams, they're more willing to be aggressive in the offseason. So I think we're going to see the Packers take him early to use that fifth-year option. And the New England Patriots, that was a quick pick. So they knew who they were going to take right away. They dropped back to 29. They knew exactly who they wanted. Bill Belichick, very excited about who they're going to get here at 29 because he had that pick as soon as they got on the clock, flipped it around and said, yep, we want this person. But once again, Aaron Rodgers, wide receiver group, looking very poor. His offensive receiving core in general, they got Robert Tonyan, Alan Lazard. That's it. They don't have anybody else. So unless you're going to line up Devontae Wyatt, wide receiver, the Packers are going to have a very, very rough wide receiver core next year. I think we could see the Patriots, the New England Patriots, the Pats. I think we see the Pats take Daxton Hill here. Daxton Hill could be going here. I think Daxton Hill can be the draft choice we see here at number 29 to the Patriots. Or he'll go to Kansas City. He'll go to Kansas City, New England, or Cincy. Daxton Hill doesn't make it out of the first round, I think. Both these teams could use a secondary piece. They don't have to get a secondary piece. All three of these teams could use secondary help. I would be shocked if the Bengals took Daxton Hill if he fell, knowing that Jesse Bates is on a franchise tag, and it's going to be very tough to get Jesse Bates to come back to Cincinnati after this franchise tag season. But I think we'll see the New England Patriots take a defensive player. The New England Patriots at 29. They have to be going with defense here. It's got to be a Patriot way. They did some deep scouting here, you know. I mean, they've traded around a lot of their picks today, trying to bulk up in those late round picks, those like second day, third day picks, and that's kind of what the Patriot way is. They do a great job of scouting and identifying those late round talents, and I think that's what they did. The Patriots, they're always going to draft well. Bill's always going to do his thing, so I think it's going to be a great look here. And I mean, I'm going to trust whatever pick they make here most likely, and I think it's very well going to be Daxton Hill. Or maybe you can argue like a Jalen Petrie too. I think it's going to go DBs. I think we're going to see 2 DBs and an offensive lineman, or 2 offensive linemen and 1 defensive back. Be drafted at 29, 30, 31. Let's say people who you're in the chat, who you guys want to be? Like, what's your team? Who you guys want to see your team draft this year? Or what are you guys thinking about of your draft so far? I know a lot of people are not happy about the Dallas Cowboys picks. I personally think this has been a good draft. I think the Patriots here could turn whoever they get here at 29 to a star, especially if it's Daxton Hill. I think Daxton Hill can be a guy you build your defense around for quite some time. As well, at the 30th, Kansas City. Imagine Kansas City might be looking to go offensive. They're taking multiple defensive players already so far. New England Patriots, 29. The pick is in. So we can see Arnold Akibi go. I think we're going to see Arnold Akibi, Dax Hill, and Nakobe Dean potentially. I like Nakobe Dean a lot. I want to see Nakobe Dean go in the first round, but he very well could fall to be the first person selected on day 2. But I still personally can't get over the fact that Malik Willis hasn't been drafted yet. Kenny Pickett's the only quarterback to go in the first round. That's what's mind-boggling to me right now, personally. I can't believe he's the only one who has been drafted. So Pats are going to take UT Chattanooga guard Cole Strange. That is the most Patriots thing ever. They're going to take a dude out of a very small mid-major, and he's going to end up being a stud offensive guard for quite some time. I'm not shocked by that one bit. So Bill Belichick and the Patriots front office doing their homework, getting themselves a guard, getting strange by drafting Strange here. It's going to be a good player for them. I'm not shocked by that. Another piece to help protect Mac Jones. And I mean, I think they're going to see their way out with some of their offensive linemen this year. The Patriots always find a way to get rid of their guys early. So he's a 2021 third-team FCS AP All-American, 2-time blocking award winner, 5-time academic All-Southern Conference. So getting a very smart and capable guard. Looks a little small, though. Not going to lie. Looks a little bit small on this picture that they're showing of him. Cole Strange was not a person I had going in the first round. Cole Strange, I had him going at 44 to 56 in mine. My kind of profile is going 44, 56, mid second rounder there. As the Kansas City Chiefs pick is in. Yeah, so I mean, kind of similar thoughts I was thinking here as ESPN wrote out some graphics through Twitter. Strange had a 93% chance to be available at pick number 54 of the New England Patriots' next pick. I mean, that's why I had him going there. I mean, a lot of people thought he wouldn't go this early, but I think what we're seeing is a lot of GMs, as well Bill Belichick, looking to take advantage of that fifth-year option they get on some of these rookie deals, which makes a lot of sense. I think that's what we're going to see. And we're seeing I can't pronounce the guy's name, George Karlaftis out of Purdue, the defensive end, going to Kansas City. He was a guy that early on this offseason was going to be a top 20 selection and slowly kept sliding down people's boards, and just a guy that I heard didn't really interview well, apparently. Don't know why, but a very smart guy coming from Purdue, 6'4", 270-pounder. It's going to be a good defensive end for the Chiefs. I think this is going to be very, very well. It's a very well planned out pick because they've traded back, traded around, and I think they know they're going to get this guy. I mean, he's a good defensive end who has a high ceiling. That's what you got to look for in some of these later round picks, because a lot of these guys, late first rounders and second rounders, the thing that separates some of these late first rounders to second rounders and third rounders is just the ceiling, because all their floors are about the same. But if they hit, they hit. And taking him in the first round isn't a bad move, because if he hits, you get him at that fifth-year deal, as I've said numerous times before, getting him very cheap, which is awesome. If you're a general manager, if you can find a guy that hits in the first round and you can save him for that fifth year, keep him an extra year, keep him extra cheap, which is very nice. As the Cincinnati Bengals pick is in at number 31. I'm not sure who the Bengals are going to go after here. Daxton Hill could be a potentiality. But I really was going to look for him to try and take a guy like Tyler Lindenbaum or no guard. Mainly because we saw in the Super Bowl the Bengals' offensive line was abysmal all year long. They kind of answered a lot of those question marks in the offseason, but still would like to see them bolster up that offensive line through the draft. I can see them kind of going multiple different ways, but I think offensive line should be the MO here. But not a lot of offensive linemen that are first-round talents available, unless the Cincinnati Bengals are just going to reach on someone that they like, which is very well a possibility. I wouldn't consider it a reach because you're getting the guys you like and you're saving yourself picks later, but it's not a pick that everybody else would make, I think. Cincinnati Bengals very well could go offensive line here, or they can go Daxton Hill. I think it's Daxton Hill or offensive line. It was what they should do. Will the Bengals do that? I'm not sure. It's Zach Taylor's their head scout. I mean, the Bengals don't have a scouting department somehow, and they're an NFL franchise, which is crazy. And you got to feel for Malik Willis at this point. Malik Willis's last hope is Minnesota tonight, which I can't rule it out. I mean, I would not be shocked if the Minnesota Vikings, like, it would be a surprise, but it is a thought. It's plausible that the Minnesota Vikings take Malik Willis. It's very plausible. Very, very possible they take him, let him sit behind Kirk for a year, and then let him go. But I don't think they would do that. I think it's at the point in the NFC North where the the Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, and who am I missing? Oh, Chicago Bears. It's all win now, more or less. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has lost some weapons, so a lot of chances just to win now, which I think is a very smart thing to do. If I were the Minnesota Vikings GM, I'd be trying to build my team and make a run this year, then go quarterback at a later point, and maybe trade up if you need to get away from Kirk Cousins. Because what makes sense if you're the Minnesota Vikings GM is you ride with Kirk Cousins this year and next 2 years, maybe even 3 years. You ride with him, see where he goes, and then you trade him because there's a market for those veteran quarterbacks, which we've seen with Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, and Matthew Stafford, and several other players. I mean, as we continue seeing it with Russell Wilson as well, makes sense to kind of just trade and get some of these guys later on, which is very fair. And as well, get these veteran guys on teams that are ring chasing that to an extent. Get some older guys to say, hey, we'll go out there and let's go try and win a Super Bowl, which I think Kirk Cousins can do if you surround him with the right pieces. So I think the Minnesota Vikings will go try and make a run the next year, 2 years, and then try to figure out their quarterback spot. I think that's what they can do. I think they'll end up holding on to Kirk Cousins for the next 2 seasons at a minimum, and then try to explore and find somebody else. But the Cincinnati Bengals pick is in. I hope they take offensive line, Daxton Hill, or Nakobe Dean. Those are the 3 picks I'd be the most happy about as a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Now, as an analyst and journalist and sports journalism person, obviously doing this thing, I think they go offensive line. My heart as a Michigan fan will see them take Daxton Hill, reunite him with Chris Evans. Chris Evans plays running back for the Bengals, and he went to Michigan as well. But I do believe the Bengals will go offensive line here. I think offensive line is the smart thing to do, the safe thing to do. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings behind them as well. I think we see Nakobe Dean, Dax Hill, offensive line draft picks here. Probably the next 2 draft choices. Once again, the NFL draft in Las Vegas looks beautiful as ever. Absolutely gorgeous down there in Vegas right now. Yeah, I say, but probably the biggest slam dunk draft pick of the night is probably Jameis Williams too as well. So Jameis Williams, Jermaine Johnson, I think are some of the 2 biggest picks, I believe. And then you got to respect the Steelers too. I mean, not making a move and getting their quarterback that they wanted at 20. It's very impressive because Kenny Pickett very well could have went number 6 overall, number 5 overall, number 4 overall. They were able to sit back, read the room, and get their guy at 20 without giving up anything extra. It was very impressive. You got to respect that. I got to respect the front office and the Steelers organization. Steelers are always coming out there doing the best for their program, doing the best for their team. They always find a way. They're one of those storied franchises, storied cultures, the storied front office that always does it right. And you hate them because they always do it right. But you have to respect it because they always do it right. As we've been sitting here waiting for the Cincinnati Bengals pick for what feels like 15 minutes. Jeez. But we're getting there. They got a concert going on there in Vegas. That's why. And now Roger Goodell works his way to the podium. Listen in.
First pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals select Daxton Hill.
Let's go. Let's go. I like that. I like that a lot. Daxton Hill to the Cincinnati Bengals. I like that a lot. I really like that. That's a very smart pick because he'll be able to sit behind Jesse Bates while also playing. It's going to be Jesse Bates, Von Bell, and Daxton Hill. I think that's going to make it for an elite secondary as well. Daxton Hill plays that nickel corner a bit. So Eli Apple will be off the field, thank God. But really, I think they're getting versatile defensive back, Daxton Hill, a guy who plays a little bit everywhere, which is terrific. I'm absolutely elated with this pick because if you don't bring back Jesse Bates next year, franchise tag. Slipping my mind. If they don't bring him back off his franchise tag, you have a guy that's going to be a stud in the next 3 years on a cheap rookie deal, and then you get him on that 5th-year deal. But Daxton Hill is a guy that plays all over the field, can rush the passer, drop back in coverage with the best of them. So it's a great pick. I love this by the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm very happy he fell all the way down to 31. And now pick number 32 with the Minnesota Vikings is in as well. But man, I love that pick with Daxton Hill. I could not be happier as a Cincinnati Bengals fan, as a Michigan fan. I think that is a great pick. He's going to fit right into that defense of a bunch of hungry, ball-winning defensive backs. That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Daxton Hill only allowed, let's say, one touchdown over the last 2 seasons as well. So, I mean, guy who's unreal, played a lot in Michigan, was a stud of that Michigan defense. What a great player as we enter the 3 hour and 40-minute mark here tonight. And I say Minnesota Vikings now at pick number 32. I wonder who they get. I wonder who they go after here. It's going to be very interesting to see who the Minnesota Vikings are going to go after. They very well could try and bolster up the offensive line because you have Dalvin Cook at running back if they can stay healthy, can be dangerous. I think we see the Vikings. Man, the Vikings could take. Very well could take. Maybe it's tough. They could take a receiver. They could take defensive back Luis Cine as well. I very well think they take Luis Cine or Luis Sign. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I think he very well could be Luis Cine though. I think that's a guy they can take because that's a good corner coming out of Georgia. A lot of people, including myself, had them taking Derek Stingley Jr., but Derek Stingley Jr. went very early tonight. So Luis Cine, Jalen Petrie are 2 guys I'd look out for them taking here. Jalen Petrie could be a guy from Baylor, or Luis Cine, the safety out of Georgia, are 2 players I could very well see coming into this pick. I think both of them would bolster up that defense well. Luis Cine would be a great pairing with Harrison Smith. And you also could see Jalen Petrie would be a good pairing up there with Pat Pete out of LSU a few years back. They said, but the Vikings do need to find a way to get younger in the defensive back area, secondary. So I think getting him at 32 would be huge. Getting one of them at 32 is massive. And then maybe even at 34, they get the other. Get Petrie and Cine, or vice versa. I think could not knock them for doing that. Their defensive back core and secondary needs to get very young. Minnesota Vikings fans absolutely loving it out there in Vegas. One thing just to think about here, imagine going out to Vegas to watch your team get a first-round draft pick, and then they trade out of the first round, and you're just out there, you just wasted 4 hours to see who your team's going to get. I mean, it's not a waste of 4 hours, but it would be a very rough feeling for sure. You'd have to imagine. So the Eagles, to sum up a little bit here, the Eagles get A.J. Brown on a big-time deal after that trade. And then you also saw, a lot of great things tonight for the NFL. It's been a very great night for the NFL, a great night for draft coverage. It's been a great time today. The NFL draft, electric as ever, as Roger Goodell comes up to the podium. Let's listen in.
With the 32nd pick in the 2022
Luis Cine out of Georgia comes in at 32 overall to the Minnesota Vikings. This Georgia defense, guys, let me tell you, was unreal. They had 5 people go in the first round this year. off that defense. They had 5 people. That is unreal. Absolutely unreal. And then they're going to end up getting as well a handful of guys in the second round. It's hats off to that Georgia defense. Hats off to that Georgia defense. And then you also have to remember Jermaine Johnson. Very well could have been at Georgia still as well. So that's absolutely crazy to see here. And now on the clock, we're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 33, but I think that's going to start tomorrow. But yeah, I say overall today, I mean, great draft. Yeah, I say that's going to be it for the first round tonight. Yeah, I'm going to say first round is over for tonight. We had a terrific night here, a great NFL draft night. The very first ever Tyler Smith pod draft extravaganza is now going to be coming to a close. But I want to say thank you to everybody here for watching alongside me this entire time. 3 hours, 44 minutes and counting. But I just want to say thank you guys. The NFL draft was terrific tonight. A lot of great moves. I'm going to be covering and breaking down the first round and more here in the next coming days. So be looking forward to that. But just to say thank you guys for tuning in to the Tyler Smith Pod Draft Extravaganza. It's been a pleasure. Good night, everyone.